We're live.
White Moose!
Let's do it.
Welcome.
Okay, guys. We have a special guest today. Todd Sharbutt, one of the OGs. I want to say legend. I know you'll probably not like this, but in my opinion, one of the legendary guys on the West Coast, especially in our West Coast community. So came in the teams in 1987. Spent time at Team 3 on the West Coast, and then went over to Damneck as one of the OG guys in Red Cell.
Red Squadron.
Is it Red Squadron or Red Cell?
Did you say 97 or 87?
Okay. 87.
87.
Old school. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking you're working with Dick Marchenko.
No, he was gone by then.
Ah, okay. Okay. We do have some questions on the whole legacy thing, because it's so interesting. From a, I don't say, like, vanilla side, it's like, it is like some Jedi shit. I have some questions for you. It'd be dope.
Absolutely.
And then also now got out 25 years in the SEAL teams, Master Chief, legendary guy. Also now a big advocate for Ibogaine. A lot of stuff he's been doing on the outside. Now going to film school. So very multi-layered personality that we're excited to get into today. And we also have returning guest Mike Moriarty from episode 14 coming back, filling in for Nick today. Nick is out catching up on some stuff. So it's going to be us today as your hosts.
Glad to be here.
It's been a good fucking episode.
Tilt your mic down just a little bit. Yeah.
All right.
That might be me. I keep hearing.
It's the Darth Vader.
Yeah. See that pretty face.
Yeah.
Darth Daddy.
But yeah, if you keep it down towards your chin. And I'm an old hand at this, because in the first few episodes it was like, all the fucking message boards are like, who the fuck keeps breathing so loud?
That's our number one comment. Like, who's Darth Vader in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, both of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Good to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So I mean, there's so much stuff to get into. We normally start at the beginning. Like, how was growing up? Where'd you grow up? How was being a kid?
Right. So, pretty big journey. I started in Alabama. I was born in Decatur, Alabama, and grew up there as just a little redneck kid running around in the lakes in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And then we moved to Los Angeles when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And it was just, I went from being Catholic school, good kid, to L.A., where there was just no rules, and you could feel that something was different in Los Angeles compared to Alabama. Everything, the rules were thrown out the window, and
You turned into like a cholo.
I didn't turn into. I turned into a punk rock kid.
Nice.
So, I was real preppy going into there, from Alabama, but Los Angeles. We got there in the early 80s, and music was really big at the time. We had some really good changes from punk rock to new wave to, some of the heavy metal and speed metal that was going on in that time. So as a young kid growing up in LA, going to punk rock concerts and seeing some of these bands, my high school had a graphic arts program, and I did silk screening.
Oh, yeah. All right.
And that was my first soiree into artistic endeavors. And so, I would go to a punk rock concert with a jacket or something that had a bunch of prints that I had silk screened on there. And the punk bands would go, hey, who made that jacket, or who did that shirt for you? And, I promoted myself and ended up making a bunch of shirts for a bunch of different punk bands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I didn't get paid anything. I got paid in like records or
Notoriety.
Or hey,
free tickets.
That little kid over there is the one who made these shirts. You know?
Who was your favorite band at the time?
At that time, it was a band called Ill Repute, and that's who I ended up making the shirts for. But it ran the gamut from Exploited to GBH to Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys, you name it.
Yep.
And luckily, my brother was in a band called Caustic Cause. And so I had this older generation of folks that I could kind of move around that environment with impunity. I could go to these punk rock concerts when I was 12 or 13 and not feel any sense of awkwardness or fear of being there. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I became pretty comfortable.
How were your parents growing up? Were they? You said you're kind of a preppy. Were they like strict or loose or religious or not? Or
in Alabama there was religion and Catholicism. I was an altar boy, but it just seemed like when we got to L.A., all bets were off. And my father worked a pretty big job at the gas company.
Is that what pressed the move from Alabama
It did.
to LA?
Yeah, we had a few choices. It was going to be Saudi Arabia or Los Angeles.
Damn.
It's a big option.
Yeah, so he was in the oil and gas business as an accountant, and we ended up moving out to L.A. And as an executive, he was pretty much at work nonstop.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, we would go skiing together and do things like that.
That's cool.
I had a pretty good connection, and my mother ended up moving back to Alabama, and so I didn't have much of a connection with that portion of it. But as far as the LA piece, it came with for my father. It came at a cost. He ended up going to prison.
Really?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he had taken a position with a company, and there were some squirrely financial deals going on before he took the deal. And the second he got into that position, the lawsuits started coming, and he was named. And, right, wrong, indifferent, guilty or not, he ended up having to spend a couple of years in the can.
Damn.
Did your parents split up?
They were split out before that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But how old were you when they went to Splitsville?
About 13,
Okay.
14. Yeah.
Is that when your mom went back to Alabama?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a tough time, man.
Yeah,
I think that's when you're kind of like, you're not a child anymore, but you're not really a teenager yet, or an adult. Definitely
You're
not an
fully
adult.
ready to absorb that. For
Yeah,
sure.
you're thrust into a lot of situations where you don't really have context yet to kind of navigate them very well.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough time.
Yeah, I had 3 older brothers, and I would look to them, and I kind of got a crystal ball into what was happening a couple of years ahead of me, and I think that positioned me in a way to be a good team guy. I was always near a squad of individuals that were doing their thing, and I had to try to fit into that group and try to find my strengths and weaknesses as well. So
Yeah, brothers will pull it out of you for sure.
yeah.
Oh, shit. So you did that. We're going into the military because you ended up having 25-year career, done a ton of stuff. Was the military always in the back of your mind, or was it something that came to you later?
I was a swimmer, and so I always was attracted to the water. And in particular, when it came time to figure out what I was going to do when I grew up, I didn't really have much interest in going to college. I wasn't having much success in high school at the time and in my education, but my father brought home a book on special forces. And, I still have that book. I go through it, and you see the Army guys, and they look like Army guys. They're all,
Squared away.
Fucking nerds.
A lot of different patches.
So, yeah, there was just, it looked like something I wasn't interested in. The Marines, it showed some field photographs of some guys doing some cool stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. But then I got to the photo of the team guys, and you see these guys with Levi's in the jungles of Vietnam with, I think it was that photo right there, a matter of fact, one of these photos of these
one of the
guys in the
legendary
bush.
ones.
And there's a photo of this big burly dude carrying a 55 horsepower
That's Tommy.
engine.
That was Tommy.
Tommy Marquis.
Tommy Marquis, right?
No shit.
So I see that photo of those guys. His face is all painted up. He's got a blue and gold on. And
Those things are 225 pounds for the listeners referencing.
yeah, there was just something about that simple photo that just translated to me. It made sense to me. I don't know why. And I went to the Navy recruiter and said, hey, I want to be a Navy SEAL. And they showed me a video, and, I never looked back.
Is this like fresh out of high school? Or?
Fresh out of high school. So I joined in the delayed entry program when I was 17. And then...
Same here.
Yeah. So I had a couple of years in between, or a couple of months after high school that I spent just running and trying to work out and get in shape. And then I headed off to Orlando for boot camp. I must have had something on my face that said, put him in charge of the troops. I was the master at arms. So immediately I was put in charge of my company as far as discipline and keeping guys in order. And I had zero experience whatsoever with it.
That's fucking funny.
But I appreciated being in that position. And it kind of set the standard and set the pace for my career. I tried to learn as much as I could. But then at the time, we still had our own source ratings. So once I passed the physical test in BUDS, I was then given a choice of A schools. I went down the list and, I had all the different A schools on this side and on the other side.
Dude, were you in the dive farer program?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did the same thing.
Me too.
Yeah. And I went to boot camp in
It's a good
Orlando.
program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had I went down the list and it said San Diego. Went across and it said radio man. I said, let's be a radio man, and came out to San Diego to Point Loma and over at the Navy Training Center. What's that called now? It's the
Liberty
Station.
Station.
Oh yeah, it's a whole little
Yeah.
commercial village
It's all
now.
civilianized
Yeah,
now.
it used to be our RTC, NTC.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my first intro into the Navy. I got there in uniform. You weren't allowed to wear civilian clothes for the first 2 weeks as soon as you checked into your command. So you had everybody just walking around in uniform. But it was also my introduction to drinking. I drank when I was growing up in high school. That seemed to be the only thing going on in our town. But one of the first things I remember doing on the base was putting my things away, and I saw the enlisted club. I said, I'm going to go take a look at that. I walk right in, and
You could drink at 18 back
Yeah.
then, right?
Yeah.
So
On all the
walk-
bases here in San Diego.
yeah. So I walked right up to the bar and ordered a beer, and it was 3.2 beer, apparently a lower
Yeah.
deal, but it didn't matter. Enough of those added up quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my first alcohol-related incident that almost happened. It didn't happen, but I was watching other people fall in this. So we had gone out drinking that night, and then ended up at a hotel room off base to continue into the evening.
Yep.
And I remember I was with
As you do.
a couple of ladies and a couple of guys from the base that I'd met, my new best friends, and I remember us staying up late into the night, and we woke up in the morning, and I wasn't worried because I didn't have anything planned that day, but the rest of them did, and so I leisurely get up and take off, and then I see all of them just running down the street in their dress whites, running as I'm
Missing mustard.
missing muster, and I'm just sitting in a cab, driving back.
Booking it in your whites, dude.
No worries.
Oh, no fun.
But yeah, I definitely had no interest in being the one running back there and knowing that I was late for something.
So the old 7 Ps, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Or
Yeah.
something. No shit. Did you have an instructor? Because I know when I went to aviation ordnance school in Florida when I was prepping, and they had a dive motivator guy out there, and he was a super funny guy, man. His name was like Trout or something like that. This is 97, I think. And great dude. He was definitely like, he was always drinking a gallon of water. He was always like, man, these guys are always piss testing me. Looking back now, I think they could put 2 and 2 together, but super funny guy. But that was my intro to, he would have us all out there and be doing the PT. And he'd wear the UDT shorts, right? Because this is like the 90s, and it was, I mean, it's wearing a lot of
Where
chicks
was this
around at
at?
Claim. Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So he'd be doing like flutter kicks, but he had like, they weren't super tight, so they were loose. So he'd be, you know, his legs are facing
Yeah,
us. And,
chicken
our
legs.
and we're just looking up his UDT shorts and seeing his bubble gum move around. I'm like, God
I'll bet
dang,
you
bro.
were looking.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Did you have a dive fair like motivator at that time, or how was that the training program to prep you to go to Buds?
They did have one at the gym over on Point Loma, but we didn't really have any time. The A school was running 24 hours a day, so you had a day, a night, and a mid
Oh shit.
class. So school is a 24-hour-a-day thing, and I had the mid, so I think I went to school like in the afternoon, and I got off like at 8 at night or something.
Yeah, dude.
That's weird.
That's some fucked up shit because that's how it was in Great Lakes when I went to GMA school. I was nights.
Really?
So we show up at fucking like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we went till like midnight,
Yeah.
No shit.
and we'd get off, and then dude, we had to run over and fucking PT at RTC at like 5 in the fucking morning, dude. So I'd go to bed and get like 3 hours of sleep. You know, once you fell asleep and shit, and you come back, it was a fucking nut roll, dude. Which, unbeknownst to me, helped probably prep me for all the fucked up shit, all the fucked up sleep and
Yeah.
everything going on in Buds, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause-
5 a.m. swims.
and there were and RTC PT wasn't mandatory, but if you didn't go, because you knew
frowned
you're
upon.
gonna have to take the test, you know, a month before you left.
Yeah.
And dude, there were dudes that literally showed up that hadn't been at fucking PT at all, and the fucking, you know, the dive motivators there were like, who the fuck are you? Where the fuck have you been for the last fucking
Yeah, why would you not
4
prep?
months? You know, and it's just like watching a dude doing fucking pull-ups. You're like, 1, nope, nope, and
Yeah.
I mean they were fucking heavily scrutinized versus the dudes that were there.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, it was like 1, 2, 3, okay, 4.
They've been watching
Yeah.
you all month, so they know you're
Yeah.
gonna make.
Yeah.
You're
They
gonna,
know you got some heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're willing to put their stamp on you.
Yeah, so that was definitely a shit show in Great Lakes, but
I don't even remember having an organized PT program when I was in A school. I think it was a 13-week school, and maybe it's because of the different schedules, but PT was on the sailor, and so
Yeah.
I would go to the gym, and you could tell the other guys that were going to Buds that were on base, so you kind of just started hanging around with some of those guys. You know, I remember inclined sit-ups, you know, watching these guys, and I didn't have a six-pack, you know, and I watched some of these dudes, I'm like, why does that guy have a six-pack?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. And, you know, so there was incentive to get in the gym and to work out, but it wasn't pushed on us at all. There was no organized.
Yeah,
PT.
we got out of shape in boot camp, man.
Yeah.
We had to like sneak away and do pull-ups in the bathroom stall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You're not prepped very well.
yeah, we had a pull-up bar in our barracks in Orlando, and it was some shit that some just swale shit. They put a fucking bar, and it was like at an angle between like 2 fucking corners.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't tall enough, so you grab the bar and you had to lift your feet up to do pull-ups.
Yeah.
And but yeah, other than that, yeah, boot camp was a fucking complete.
Dude, somebody
Waste.
sent us this piece of when the Buds compound got tore down. Somebody sent us a
very
piece
cool.
of the
Pull-up bars.
of the original pull-up bar. Yeah, he sent me a picture of it, and it was like 9 feet long. So I'm thinking like, how's this guy going to ship this to us? And then I'm thinking like, what we're going to do with it. And this showed up. I'm like, oh well, like
Nice.
an aggressive flashlight or
Nice
something. If
fucking cock holster.
And the new compound,
It's dope, though.
It's still there on the NAB side,
The
right?
Buds compound?
Yeah, they
yeah,
moved- they
it's
moved a
all
little
just
bit.
all new, completely redone. Everything. So they tore
Yeah.
up the grinder
Yeah, they
and
tore
everything.
everything up.
Yeah.
The old, if you remember the old, on the back of the old SEAL Team 5 dive locker, there was the big Team
Yeah.
5 symbol. like, you know, I saw that, and it was like the last piece of the wall that was standing, and I'm like, dude, we should go in there and get a friggin' with a quickie saw and a cement blade and cut that out.
Yeah, get some duck feet, dude.
Yeah.
Somebody did that.
Somebody did the duck
Really?
feet thing, but the SEAL Team 5 emblem was like the size of that whole wall. It was
Yeah.
huge. It was
Oh,
like,
that's sick.
It was
how are we
like-
going to get that out of there?
Yeah, carry it. Overhead carry.
Yeah, that'd been.
Get Tommy Marquis on it.
I think we're missing something by having them separated. There was always something as a Bud student. We used to get sent over to do menial labor at the SEAL
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
And your first glimpse at real frogman was as a Bud student. And I think having that kind of relationship, there was some value in being closely related.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate the new SEAL teams, the location, the training value.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Exclusive real estate down there too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I remember running past Team 5 and getting fucking water balloons fucking
You
thrown
did
at me.
He did the same thing
And
to
then
me.
I did, yeah, and then it turns out whenever I was there, I'm like, well, hey,
Got to keep the tradition
fair
going.
play.
When
Turn 'em out.
I checked into Team 5, I recognized him immediately when he was in my sister platoon. I'm like, that's the guy who used to throw water balloons at us.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Some traditions are meant to be
good
carried
shit.
on.
Yeah.
Right on. So, how'd that go? And then how was checking into buds?
So yeah, A school was just a blip on the radar. I mean, I think it went so quickly. But what it gave me was a top secret clearance.
Oh, cool.
And it gave me an
Oh, that's
understanding.
right, radio man. Yeah.
Yeah, it gave me an understanding of radio procedures, voice procedures, and comm procedures, and something that's, it comes up a lot in film because people assume just because you're a Navy guy, you don't know how the Army guys talk or all this, but it's a joint Army, Navy, Air Force communications program. So
Yeah.
it's if you say the same exact stuff in the Navy as you do in the Army over a radio. Or
You mean the phonetic alphabet's not different?
no, all of the things are the same. The procedures are exactly the same for that unity of effort. And so I was able to learn what became a very valuable tool in the SEAL teams.
Yeah.
So when I got to my first, when I got to BUDS, I was in class 158, and I was a decent swimmer. I wasn't a great runner. I wasn't the fastest, but I had I could sprint. But my entire class, I had a class of officers that were all the water polo players from Annapolis. And some of these guys were all American, just, the most incredible swimmers on earth. And I was about in the middle of the pack in swimming, and
It's pretty good for that crew.
yeah, they were all the very first, and then I was just right about behind that. But also, education-wise, I needed remedial math for my dive thing. I don't know.
Physics.
Dive physics. So a lot of them would tutor me. A lot of the officers would tutor me and make sure that I scored, what was it, the minimum of 70 to pass a test in BUDS. So
I remember that. It was like on the academic stuff, I thought the officers had to score like 10% higher
Yeah,
than the
it
list of
scored
guys.
like an 80, I think.
Was that what it was? I couldn't remember if it was 80 and 90 or 70 and 80. 70 and 80, I guess?
yeah,
so.
Okay.
I think it was.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to go back and do a tour as an instructor during your time?
I did. Actually, I went to take third phase. I think you were in third phase at the
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got there as a senior chief, and
What year was that? Like 06?
no, that was 02 or 03.
Oh, okay. I came in early 04, so I think it was.
It might have been
a little
04. It was
overlap,
04.
Yeah.
Yeah, my numbers are off. So this is actually a pretty my first time into SEAL team or into BUDS. This is an alcohol-related incident that I had.
Well, it is the show for that.
Is this the official
This
first
is
one?
Well, since there was no NJP on any, I have no official.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
smooth sailing, dude.
So
I mean,
I-
as opposed to the last one where they were all running and you didn't even you got to sleep in that. day,
Yes,
so.
exactly. So I had gold sleeves. But what happened was so
Never caught.
I had
Never convicted.
I had just returned from Afghanistan, and I was a platoon chief at SEAL Team 3, and I had gone out to a dinner event, and my car was parked out front, and I had a couple glasses of wine, and I had to move my vehicle. Well, moving a vehicle in Pacific Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And just turned the corner and was stuck in a loop that I couldn't get out of. And lucky for me, there was a police officer with an alarm, a siren going off behind me, and so I got a DUI. Not something I'm proud of, but my orders were set to go to Buds, and I was called in over there, and the XO and the command master chief brought me into their office, and the master chief looked at me and said, "I've worked with you before, and I look forward to working with you again." It didn't happen.
Wow, that's a good deal.
It was a very good deal, but I learned something from that. It's second chances are available and should be used sparingly, but with purpose. And it helped guide me into that next phase. So I got to third phase as a senior chief with that holding over my head, and I was up for Master Chief at the time. And lucky enough for me, I picked up Master Chief, and I moved on from third phase. Cool. and went back to basic training.
How was having that dual experience of being an instructor, and then also how did that compare your time there? Because that was before the SO rating. Yeah. So I was there from 04 to 06. So that was kind of like that transition period happened. The SO rating happened there. So Buds got moved from kind of this kind of good old boys kind of school where team guys were only the ones in control of it. Big Navy wasn't, they had a hand in it, but they weren't like dictating it as much as they did later. And then the SO rating came down and everything got,
CNET?
Yeah, something like that. Got completely, it became a Big Navy school, and that standardized things in a good way. It did need standardization a little bit, but it removed some of the lateral moves or autonomy that the instructor staff had. How was your experience being an instructor versus going through in the 80s as a student?
I didn't notice a change in the program itself, but because of my position, I was now, attrition was the biggest thing on the commanding officer, and the different organizations were really focused on attrition, especially with officers. What I found, and especially within first phase. So it seemed like anything could happen in second and third phase. Let's just make sure we keep the numbers down in first phase.
Were you the SEA of first phase or something?
I was the SEA for basic training command.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So under BTC, it was all of the phases up until awarding of the Trident. So SQT fell under Advanced Training Command.
Got it.
And
for guys listening, SEA is Senior Enlisted Advisor.
Yeah. So you were, before. Well, no. Did the BTC still have its separate CMC?
It was just being formed. They were just creating the separate entities, and it wasn't a command with its own billet structure. So it wasn't a CMC, but it was the senior.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
No, us going through in the 90s was like, you always feel like that as a student, that the instructors have complete autonomy and control over everything, and they can just like not like the way you look that day and just kick you the fuck out.
Shit just fell off.
But how was it going through as a student in the 80s, did you feel like, was it everything that you expected reading the books and going through, or was it more or less, or how was the experience?
First of all, what books were out at that point? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
The only book that I remember reading was Men with Green Faces.
Oh, yeah, old
before
school,
that
yeah.
one, and then, but as far as
Is that Daryl Young? I'm trying to remember the name of that book.
no, I don't think so.
Green Faces. I remember reading a book by Daryl Young that was always like really fucking crazy to me, and then I found out later that he was paralyzed. Like,
Oh,
he
shit.
Fucked himself up on, I want to say like the cargo net.
Really?
Like
Wow.
served, like was in the SEAL teams and like literally broke his back or some shit. I have to,
Yeah, cargo net's no joke.
I have to look that up, make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. But yeah, but fucking definitely a few books out there.
Yeah, Buds was absolutely met my expectations as far as difficulty. I took a beating, my knees, my back, my neck. I definitely felt the pain of first phase. The cold water. It was certainly no easy task. But at the time, we had land warfare and then dive phase. So land warfare was in
shit,
second.
okay.
So the island still had Quonset huts. It wasn't the new building.
Yeah.
And it
Camp.
definitely felt alone and afraid out at the island. You could definitely tell that they couldn't hear your screams from the island.
That's what that.
Gene Wentz was the guy that wrote that book, Men in Green Faces.
Is it Camp Al Huey? Is that
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
That's the one out there? Okay.
Yeah. Al Huey Hill.
Yeah.
They still have Frog Hill?
Yeah, Frog Hill's. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Frog Hill's still there.
Oh, man. Yeah. Some traditions are just awesome, dude.
Yeah, I had my first platoon chief was Dave Huey. His father was Al Huey.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So he grew up on that island. So every time we went to San Clemente Island, I'd go lobster diving and stuff with Al, or with Dave rather.
Yeah.
And he knew that island like the back of his hand. It was pretty amazing.
I bet. And any funny stories from Buds, or any?
Buds
Awakens.
was there wasn't much humor in Buds.
You don't say.
It's a lot more funny being an instructor.
Yeah, it's much fun. But I was rolled in third phase for pool comp, and I had this, where I'd get wrapped up underwater during pool comp, and they'd pull my exhalation hose out, and I didn't have any problem when my inhalation. I could hold my breath quite fine, but when you pinched off that exhalation and you start to blow and try to exhale, there was that disconnect, that mammalian gag reflex. And so that little valve that keeps water from going up into your nose,
right.
I still hadn't developed a way of shutting that off. And so as soon as they pinched that off, I'd go to exhale, and I'm like, I can't exhale. And it would cause that hunger for breathing, and a little bit of not panic. So I remember not passing an evolution, and
that's when the phases were switched too.
yeah,
So third
That
phase
was the last phase.
yeah, land phase was second, and then
Yeah.
dive phase was third.
and so I got rolled for that, and I thought it was the most horrible thing on the planet. I'm like, I'm watching my class. It's in third phase. Here I am getting rolled.
Same thing happened to me.
And everyone in that class went to SDVs.
Oh god.
Oh, wow.
Every single person from class
Yes, I'm
150.
so glad I got rolled.
So I graduate the next class, 159, and I get my orders to SEAL Team 3. And, I took that as just a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that I
man.
had anything against SDVs, it just wasn't.
I'll take a couple more months in Buds to avoid SDV teams.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, they do some really rad stuff, but given the option of going there and not going there, I would prefer to go just about anywhere else.
Fuck, dude. Yeah. I got a couple buddies that wound up. They were in the class, same shit, class 198 that I was originally in. I got rolled into 200, and two of my best friends, that one wound at SDV 2 and the other one wound up SDV Team 1. I was like, Like, fuck that.
Dodge that bullet.
Yeah.
Oof, man.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So how was it checking into Team 3? How'd you feel?
I checked in with a very good friend of mine, Pete, and it was amazing. We still had Vietnam veterans at the command. You know, training cell was Mike Martin and total badass frogman, Herbie Corral. Kirby Corral.
Kirby.
Legends.
Yeah.
And we had this master at arms, and he put myself and Pete to work doing lifeguard duty down at on the Strand for the beach landings. And so we'd get a truck and just drive down there and just hang out on the beach until we were able to go to our first school. And I went out to Virginia Beach for the Group 2 comms course. And at the time, this course was taken from the Special Forces communications course. And so we learned Morse code. We learned all of the HF radio wave propagation and antennas. And for 3 months, just became a subject matter expert on communications.
Did you feel you had a pretty good leg up since you'd already been to radio school? Or?
I did. Yeah. I felt just all the hard memorization of that stuff was already done. The Morse code, sending and receiving, was difficult. I mean, you had to listen to tape recordings for hours and hours every single day.
You still remember any of that stuff?
I do, absolutely. And I could probably, I could memorize the alphabet as far as what they are, but sending and receiving, it would be difficult to receive.
Was that course, was that the only comms course at the time? Because I remember when they started sending dudes, that Group 1 made a course, obviously, which probably was taken from Group 2. But I remember when I first got to the team and they would send dudes to the fucking comms course. I mean, it was funny because they had a mobile comm team, and we used to call it the mobile comedy team. And but those were the dudes that put it on, and it actually had a pretty fucking high attrition rate. I was actually like, new guys would get sent there, and they were like, "Hey, motherfucker," and I want to say it was like 2 months long.
It's a lot
and they were
of
like,
stuff,
"Don't
dude.
fuck this up." They're like, because
Make us look bad.
well, not only that, but I mean, to get your C1 status to be deployable and shit, like you need a certain amount of fucking comm guys.
Yeah.
And
2 comm guys per platoon, 2
and
snipers.
you're like, dude, it's like, if you fuck this up during pro dev, and even, back that up, because, I mean, when I first got to the team, and I'm sure as was with you, like, there wasn't really, like, a pro dev period. Like, you were in the middle of a workup, pretty much. You do, like, a year workup and then deploy, or less than a year workup and deploy.
You just cut guys away from
And you would just cut dudes away, and they were like, fuck, man, we don't want to cut this new guy away because he doesn't really know shit. He's been to STT, but he hasn't done a workup yet. So you're cutting new guys away to do shit, and then you fucking fail out, and it's like, you fucking dickhead.
That's going to look
And now
really
we
bad
got to
for you.
now we got to take another new guy or send this guy back to this. So it was a fucking nut roll, and I don't know if they ever came down hard on the mobile comm team. It was like, hey man, you can't keep failing our fucking guys. But I do remember later on in my career of, it was just a after-mentioned thought, like, you're going to go and you're going to complete it. Like, it wasn't a big fucking thing. Like, I mean, when dudes go to sniper school, it's like, fuck, man, you may not make it.
Yeah.
And it was like that with comm school, which is fucking
Eventually,
crazy.
it just became, you're going to get a grad certificate. It's just on you whether or not you're going to be a good comm guy or a fucking shitty comm guy.
Yeah.
true.
And there are those dudes that actually fucking thrive in that environment, that are good comm guys, and there are dudes that are just fucking carrying batteries. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, no shit, dude.
I was one of those guys who thrived in that environment, and I found competition with my fellow teammates. We then came back to SEAL Team 3 after that school, and the two of us were in sister platoons, and it was immediately obvious that our wealth of knowledge that we had just acquired put us in a different place in the team as a new guy.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, I was a new guy, but even the guys in the other platoons that have done maybe a comms rotation as a comm guy, I still had just a wealth of knowledge and experience from that school that you can only get from there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said for that, because I mean, nothing makes you feel worse. I mean, I didn't go to comm school, but just in STT back in the day, like you went through like a 2-week thing of
Fam, basically.
just trying to make comms. And I mean, there were dudes that were fucking dialed in. There were dudes that were just like,
This is all Greek. It's all Greek to me.
just
you know?
don't understand. And even in platoons, there were dudes that could. I mean, nothing makes you feel like more of a fucking shitbag than you're out doing some shit as a platoon, and it's like, hey, all right, time to make comms, and the dude's like,
Yeah.
literally just staring at the fucking OIC with a fucking handset, and he's like,
I never went to comm school either.
sunspots. You're like, motherfucker, how the fuck can you not make fucking comms?
Yeah, until I made chief and I was getting ready to do a platoon chief slot, and I'm like, I better go to comm school because, like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, hey, I need to go to comm school. I got to figure this shit out if I'm going to be a platoon chief. You know, not that I was going to be operating the radios, but you know, at least have a working knowledge of.
I will
what's
say,
going
I wish there was more, at least in the pipeline. I wish there was more of that, because I mean, dude, you get in a platoon and it's like you hand a fucking embedder to your comm guy, and he's like, motherfucker, you know how to program a fucking embedder yet? Like, we've been using these goddamn radios for like fucking 12 years or some shit, you know? Or
Like, yeah, but it's been several months since I touched one. Do it for me.
I don't know. The fucking freak's always in here. It's like,
Here, load your crypto. Here's a kick. You're like, nah, you do it.
yeah.
Turn it on. That's about
Yeah.
So I got to my platoon an expert, and that helped. But I was also department head. So, you know, now you show up as a new guy, and you've got some organization, some leadership, some pieces. One of the best parts about that school as well that gets overlooked is we went to Naval Gunfire Support School and close air support. So we initially, immediately had a good understanding of aircraft inbound, exfil, communicating with them, marking locations, friendly locations, and it just put a tactical edge around everything you'd learned at Buds. And
did we have our own CAS school at that point?
We didn't. We went to the Marine Corps. Out in Virginia, and they had a naval gunfire support program there that had the old board, the puff board.
Yeah.
Now they're doing that. I don't know if you've seen. There's a team guy who started a business called Havoc. Have you been to the museum, the SEAL Museum?
The one here?
Yeah. So in there they've got a virtual reality setup where you can put the headset on, and you go through a SEAL experience where you parachute out of a plane and they go through the.
I thought it was like you'd be at Danny's.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Yeah. They should do that.
But a real team guy
The
experience.
SEAL experience.
Yeah, so it has them jumping in and water drop, getting on the boats, and then doing an underway ship takedown. And
that's fucking cool.
It's really neat. Well, they've taken that a step further, and Havoc does JTAC training and LZ, DZ training, on a big level, and it's all using VR headsets.
That's cool.
Super cool.
Especially, because VR is a really cool platform. It just doesn't have, there's not a lot of content available for it, and it's goofy wearing those goggles. But as far as training, they're able to get realistic training in a realistic three-dimensional battlefield. It's pretty impressive stuff I've seen them coming up with.
I've always wondered, how accurate is naval gunfire? Because that seems just like a Hail Mary.
No, dude, they're fucking Nat's ass, dude.
And yeah, absolutely. The first time I ever saw, because I felt the same way with artillery and things like that, because you're like, you have no control. It's just coming from somewhere so far away. At least if I'm calling in a jet to come in and drop it, I have terminal guidance. And I'm looking at them when they come in in the pop and go wings level. I can look up and go, all right, they're definitely pointing towards the target, you're cleared hot.
Yeah.
And bombs away. But in the initial phase of the Iraq War, I was coming up the Shatt al-Arab, the river between Iran and Iraq. And we have an Anglico Marine, a master gunnery sergeant with us. And we got lit up from the Iranian side of the beach. And we returned fire. We were in Sakars on the river. And he got on the radio and called in an artillery fire mission on these guys. And it was the first time I'd seen a fire mission like that in theater. And it was impressive to be sitting there and all of a sudden just out of nowhere, they say just shoot.
So like, is this like howitzers or something?
Howitzers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now the thing when you talk about the
155.
naval gunfire, when it's coming from a ship, you know, it's like they're out there in sea states. You know, it's
Yeah.
like how do they get those
Yeah.
things right on target? You know. It's like,
Yeah.
And absolutely. So I had never, I trusted it. And during Desert Storm, you know, we had conversations and the idea of using naval guns. So it was always kind of in the back of my mind. And I would have loved to have been able to make a real life
world
call.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the closest I ever got was being in the boat with that guy when he made that call.
Yeah. So you were Team 3 when Desert Storm was going down. How was that? Because I mean, we all missed that era.
That was my first platoon, and we were on an ARG. So I was on the USS Vancouver. The platoon was embarked on it. We had, we didn't have special boat teams yet that had. We had a couple of a ribdet from the East Coast that came and supported us, but the majority of the boats were still using Sea Foxes.
Oh wow! No
yeah.
shit. Vietnam stuff.
Our primary role was
Cheese Fox.
was mine counter measures, and we were doing hydrographic reconnaissance of all the beach landings of Kuwait. So as soon as we got there, we were in the water every single night, and we were just covering large sections, doing hydrographic recons of almost every section of beach.
UDT style.
Yeah. So much so that there were 5 other platoons in theater during Desert Storm. From SEAL Team 5, from SEAL Team 1, Team 2 had a couple guys out from the carrier, had a platoon out there from the carrier. And we all came together on several different occasions they had looked at some of those islands like Falaka and some of them
Boubion.
like Karg and Boubion
Island, dude.
Absolutely. So when you see what's happening right now and they're talking about taking these islands, I have such a vivid idea of the planning process and the clearance operation for that. To include the mines. When we were there, the Tripoli was hit with a mine.
Yeah.
So they were laying mines all over the Persian Gulf. And our ARGs were just sitting there turning gator squares. But you could definitely feel a resistance to send ground forces in that war. It was Schwarzkopf and Powell. It was very much, we're going to bomb these people into oblivion.
Yeah.
But we were able to pull into port into our platoon just south of Saudi Arabia. There's a town called Khafji, and it was the first ground offensive where some of our ground forces and Marines made contact with the Iraqis. And so we pulled into Mashab, one of the ports down there, and you'd go out to a phone center to make a phone call home. And they have out in the middle of the desert just one of these tents with a bunch of AT&T phone booths in there.
Yeah.
And you'd wait in line for 3.5 hours to hopefully make a call back to your family.
Wow.
Yeah.
But since we didn't have ground mobility, we had to borrow some Humvees from the parking lot to get us into Kuwait. So we would, what do they call that? Not steal these vehicles.
Commandeer.
We would commandeer those vehicles. And we found our way into Kuwait City the day of the ceasefire. So there's nothing more interesting than coming into that city, one you'd been studying for all this time, and there's not a soul in the city. So we were driving around, going through the Sheraton, these giant hotels that had been blown out. There were all the anti-artillery aircraft, and all of the heavy weapons were still in place, all the RPGs. And what was really weird is inside of all the bunkers, is they would looted every store, and all the gold and the rolls and the expensive stuff was driven straight into Iraq.
Yeah.
But you would come into one of these bunkers and there would just be bags full of like little kids' shoes or clothes or just garbage, just like weird little toys and silly stuff, because it was something that these guys could take home with them, I guess. I don't know what it was. But
how many platoons did you do at 3 when you first stationed there?
2 platoons.
2. Okay, gotcha.
So I did Desert Storm, and then we came back to Kuwait for my 2nd platoon, and we were based out of the Kuwaiti Navy base and did mostly CSAR, combat search and rescue is what they were calling it at the time, but personal recovery, immediate response for any air crew that was going down doing Operation Southern Watch.
Gotcha. So having that experience going through, all the planning for those islands that are now in contention, what are your thoughts on what's going on now with those islands in the current situation?
I think it's would be quite a simple operation to take the property, but maintaining it, they're just going to be a sponge for whatever assault is coming their way.
Are they within range of like artillery from the mainland, or how far away are they?
Yeah, it's obviously any attack that comes on them, they'd have pretty quick.
What is that? Is that
response.
Karg Island?
I don't know.
Karg is one
right?
of the main ones that they're looking
right
at.
there by the Straits of Hormuz. Yeah.
I don't know how much time or effort they've had to mine that area, not just in the water, but on the land, to deny access.
Right.
But having been around, we have pretty good capabilities to get through and clear that. But it would be interesting if it's 82nd Airborne. The Marines, I'm more accustomed to seeing how they operate at that level.
Yeah.
The Grenada, Panama style invasion with the 82nd Airborne securing the airfield with Rangers is one thing, but it would be interesting to see how that equates to like a big island takeover.
When was Panama?
It was in 89.
89?
Yep, okay. 90, 89.
So how was that in the teams? Because that was it seems like it was kind of a shit show type operation. Like, how was that received at the team level at the time?
I was in comm school at the time on the East Coast.
Shit. Okay.
And because the guy who was running our comms course was so good at communications, he was the subject matter expert.
Yeah.
So he got pulled out. I remember because it was Christmas of that year, and he had gotten pulled out and was sent down to Panama. And I knew a couple of the guys, Isaac Rodriguez, graduated buds around my time, and there were a few guys. He was in that SEAL Team 4 platoon. So I'd seen him a couple of days before they deployed. Everyone knew what was going on, but we didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And so I ran into Isaac, and he said, "Yeah, we're getting ready to roll out." And they took off, and I flew home, and he was one of the guys who was killed in that. So, they were obviously they came up on Patia Airfield, got into contact, and just got lit up, and there were some other missions, obviously with Chris Dye blowing up the Noriega's boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was there a big? Because I came in after that. I don't know much about it other than it seemed like there's a lot of things that kind of went wrong in that. Was there a big after action debrief with the teams? Like, hey, here's what happened. Here's what went wrong. Here's what we're gonna do to fix it.
If there was, I wasn't invited to it. And team guys will talk. There was certainly a lot of valor. There was a lot of valor that took place on that field, regardless of how
the outcome.
Regardless of why they were there doing that mission and any mistakes that were made along the way. Once they got came under attack, they responded in a way that was significant. So I think anytime it's hard to find out what the real trouble was on it. But we felt it. We always felt that, who's in charge of this boat, who's given the orders, and how much of that mission planning belongs to the platoon.
Yeah.
I heard, and I don't know what's true or not, but I heard that they were under some kind of weird ROEs at the time. They had to kind of announce themselves on the bullhorn, which if you're on an airfield with no cover, that seems like not something you would want to do, but they were kind of forced to do that with the ROEs. Is that accurate?
That's what we were told, is that at one point, they were just going to take it out with a standoff weapon, which made sense to us. Why walk up to it and let's just shoot an AT-4 and take this out? And they said, well, we want to minimize collateral damage. We don't want to do this. So, and again, I wasn't there, but I said, let's go up and dismantle, pop the tires, something to that effect. And that was what brought them in closer to the objective and ultimately got them compromised.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
All right, cool. Well, we're almost now. You guys want to take a quick break?
Sure.
Cool.
All right, we're back.
Back in. Let's do this.
You want me to plug these guys? You want to plug Bulkhead?
Let's start with those guys.
Yeah, so this is a company. They've sent me a couple of these before. They're big-ass fucking bags. It's called Binge-Worthy Snacks. BingeWorthySnacks.com if you want to get some fucking some shit to binge on.
We're not.
Are they healthy?
They're fucking delicious, dude.
We're not sponsored by them either. They just send us stuff.
We're not sponsored by them, but dude, they make these little fucking like chips,
like beef chips.
Yeah, it's like beef jerky, but it's like
it cracks like a chip. Yeah,
I'm gonna try one later.
Yeah, they're fucking pretty goddamn good. Like I'll sit and eat a whole fucking bag.
No, you won't.
Toby loves them too.
Really?
And my dog doesn't eat like people food. But this is a shit he'll fucking go ape shit for.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing too, we've been kind of hinting at for a while that we haven't had the cans yet. So Bulkhead energy drink, we got a 250,000 cans out in circulation now that have our little logo on the side
with the QR code.
Yeah, with the QR code. These are all going in the AFEs across the country now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. It's got a QR code, so you scan that, it takes you to our website. I was like, dude, that's fucking really cool of them to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not like, I guess it's like a partnership.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just dope, man. And the guys running that too are like Kevin from Savage Tacticians, Kevin Ullman. Fucking phenomenal guy, man. I was out at his wedding. Disney and I were out there like 2 years ago in Ireland. We flew out there for it. It's like him and his wife are super dope.
Ireland.
Man. Yeah,
That's still on my bucket list.
It's pretty cool. We drove around the whole island. It was a lot of fun, man. His wedding was freaking beautiful. Have you ever been to an Irish wedding?
Many.
Dude, I drink a lot. I did not know the extent.
Fucking Mo's first generation American. Both his parents are born in Ireland.
Dude, they had like second dinners, and I had to tap out from the drinking. I'm like, man, some stereotypes are true, bro.
You call yourself an American. Yeah.
It was fun, man. It was really cool. So yeah, Bulkhead energy drink. Stoked to have these cans, and so anyway, yeah. If you see Bulkhead energy on the shelf somewhere, definitely pick some up and check them out. Dope stuff, good people, and it's freaking delicious, and it's just dope to see
nutritious.
our little logo out there. You know,
oh yeah,
cool stuff. So thank you guys. Right on. I think there's some other shit too. Oh yeah, and then Jack Lackey, Red Baron Racing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's the guy that we were referencing that sent us the bottles of 4 Roses.
Oh, he sent us these?
Yeah, he sent us 2 bottles of those things. Like $100 bottles of whiskey.
Shit, yeah. I'll wear his T-shirt then. Nice
Thanks,
work.
Jack.
Yeah.
Dope. All right, good stuff. All right, so
The man of the hour.
Back to Todd. Yeah, so you're Team 3, did 2 platoons there.
Yep.
And then you, what year did that put you at where you were heading over to Damneck?
1993.
Okay.
So I went to Green Team when I was pretty young. I was 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
When I finally was in Green Team, and
What made you push? Like, it was at Team 5. There were a group of dudes who would typically go to Damneck, come back to the West Coast to other teams, and there were some dudes who would push younger guys that direction. Then there are other dudes who were just like, like.
It's not
There's
as
no
big
fucking big deal.
It's not as
type
big
shit.
on the West Coast as it is on the East Coast. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
What was kind of motivated you to?
Yeah. Did you have like some mentors at 3 that were like, this is the way you need to go? Or did you see it as something bigger and better?
Yeah, there was no one pushing it at Team 3. No one in my platoon. There was no one at the command that I can point to right now and say that was the reason. There were, when I was in Buds, one of my classmates, his brother was at the command at the time. So
That's cool.
kind of I'd heard a few things, and I remember seeing his brother at graduation, and his hair was a little longer than everyone else's, and there was just certain attitude. But it was mainly, in the teams, that movie came out, and
Oh yeah.
you saw these tactics, the close quarters battle, the combat, and it was a real focus on this hostage rescue aspect of it, and it appealed to me.
Navy SEALs here to get you out.
Navy
Yep.
SEALs here to get you out.
I believe you.
And so I really didn't see any other direction. I just assumed, the book had come out, Marcinko's book had come out,
Road Warrior. Yep.
And so I had read that, of course, and it's not that book in particularly led me to the command, but I knew in my first platoon that I was going to screen and go to the command. So I went in 93, just a very young team guy with two deployments, and one of them was to a combat zone. So I had some experience, but it was definitely an eye-opener when you get into Green Team, and we had very small classes. I think there's only about 20 or 25 of us
Wow.
in the Green Team class. And it happens, everything's immediate, and from physical fitness to focus and time away, you're immediately launched into the selection process, and the scrutiny and the eyes that are on you are unblinking. There's just zero room for error. If any mistakes along that way, and you might get a warning, and if you won't get a second warning.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you get one chance to kind of clean up some of your issues, unless it's safety, and safety violations are looked at very, negatively for good reason. And selection for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the camaraderie, being part of that team. It was the first time you're kind of in the room with East Coast guys, East Coast team guys. And, that was back in the day where it's just non-operating West Coast pukes. And, so you would hear that literally out of the East Coast guys' mouths on a daily basis. You're constantly being, hearing this East Coast, West Coast crap. But it all comes down to how well you can shoot, move, and communicate. And that equalizer, it happens immediately there. A simple shooting drill like El Presidente, for example.
Classic.
There may be, you put so much stress on yourself about failing that you may be the best shot ever, but you get up there and, the pressure.
Were you guys still using muskets?
I was just gonna say, he showed up to Green Team. You and I were in boot camp.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
Well, no, we had the 226, the SIG, and we had the MP5. as our primary. So throughout, we were still using MP5s. And when I got into the team itself, we slowly switched over to the M4, the carbine, for all operations. But at the time, you had a CQC gun and a Spec Ops gun. So you had your gear prepared for whatever mission it might be, whether you're parachuting in or coming over the beach or helicopter. But if it was a hostage rescue, shipboard type thing, you were going to have a 9mm MP5.
Was there still iron sights on that guy?
We had some. There was, yes, just iron sights. We had some, night vision we were using. We had some laser pointers, some IR pointers. But your range, you weren't going to shoot past a certain distance
Still
anyway with it.
Yeah.
So you could effectively shoot all of your targets without any optics whatsoever.
What was the Spec Ops gun to partner with that?
The Spec Ops gun was essentially an M4, a carbine.
Yeah, it's short barrel.
Short barrel laser. You had an IP pill, and an ACOG or an aim point, depending on what you liked. And I was a comms guy, so I had a 203, a grenade launcher. But one of the things that happened is they started to bring in combat controllers and PJs. And a lot of guys were happy about that, especially the corpsmen, because they're like, I don't want to have to be a corpsman, be a medic.
No shit. So they still had their own team guy corpsman, even at that level at the time.
We did, and you never know when you're going to have to do. The team's going to have to do an unsupported operation and that happened before, where, hey, we're only going to be able to bring 20 guys, so
no PJs.
Yeah, no PJs, no controllers. You're carrying a green radio, and you're carrying something more than a blowout kit.
That's interesting to hear how the packages have changed over time. That's wild. To go backtrack just a little bit, because we were talking a little bit about the movie Navy SEALs before before we started the show, and you said something that I wanted to ask you too, where the movie came out and you guys actually went to the theater with team guys and watched the movie. How did that go?
Yeah, it was basically the entire SEAL Team 3. We went down to the theater and had a screening of it, and it was hilarious, Was
that like the base theater, or
no? It was off base, just like down here in like National City somewhere. They just had a private screening for us. We all went.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm surprised they did that out in town for you guys.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
That's pretty funny.
What did the guys think of it?
I think people were embarrassed to say, but it was a damn good movie.
It's entertaining at a minimum.
It's an entertaining film, and it's made by a team guy, obviously. But
Chuck Farr.
Chuck Farr, yeah, he was at the command back in the day. So I thought it was a pretty well put together film.
It's still the test of time. I mean, there's a lot of pretty cheesy movies out there for team guys, but I honestly haven't watched any of them straight through. Like Act of Valor, great storyline and great guys in there, but I think I made it through like first 4 minutes of the movie. I'm like, I can't deal with this fucking bullshit.
Well, that wasn't initially supposed to be a full feature film.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a
bunch of commercials.
Yeah.
But then this one is just so funny. Like it's just such like it's like almost like a caricature.
If you don't have the humor aspect and anything that has to do with our community, you're missing a lot of the point.
But there are so many parts of it that are so accurate, though. Like Charlie Sheen's character, man, I know a lot of team guys that are
trust me with your life, but never your money or your wife.
And he wakes up on the beach with like some stripper shoe, and I'm like, that is such a team guy thing.
Absolutely,
it's just true, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain parts of that even though it's kind of a caricature movie,
got nothing on Starlight.
Switching to thermal. Yeah,
I mean that's real. Accurate. You can obviously see through fucking walls.
Right.
With thermal.
The X-ray scope. Yeah, that's wild stuff, man. I love it.
Yeah. So you're definitely a great film, which, like you're saying, has stood the test of time. But
one of our goals is to have Charlie Sheen on the show one day.
Well, I mean, they just did.
Michael Biehn.
They remade, obviously, Top Gun with the Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, dude, that would be epic.
This would be
Navy SEALs 2.
Hey, you two, get to the script writing.
That's it. We need to mix up something here.
Yeah.
And I'd get on board with that.
Fucking
sure.
Charlie Sheen's like a fucking admiral now, or
Yeah,
some shit.
Bullshit. He's like homeless on the street with a bottle of liquor.
Or he would be
It's more
like, you
accurate than
know,
Admiral.
he would be like Tom Cruise's character. Motherfucker can't put on fucking admiral. He's a captain that's
Yeah.
you know, habitual. I mean, in many ways, we kind of have to pattern him after like a Marcinko. You know, that's
Oh yeah,
A little bit of a outcast.
yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah, I hope one day that that grows some legs and you know, extends out a little bit further from the original.
Get
lore.
on it.
I still I have to make 2 movies for school, but a documentary and a narrative short. But it has to be original ideas, so I don't know if I can adapt a screenplay based on that. But in the future, for sure.
Yeah.
That was cool. All right, so back from the sidetrack, back from the past. So being at that command, was it? Because I was never there, but it seems like I mean, it's definitely a level up. I'm an outsider, but it definitely, from what I've seen of it, I mean, those guys deserve all the accolades they get. Is definitely like tip of the spear, next level above the regular SEAL teams. At least that's my impression of it. Was that your impression going there, or how was that? How did you feel coming from a regular team to DevGru at the time?
Yeah, it's a good question because you know, you're on the other side of the curtain and you're seeing these things firsthand, and I only have the experience of what I learned and saw at Team 3. Of course, the gear that you get is top of the line, the weapons, and it's not just the weapons. You get a gun, but you go down to the armor, and there's actual armorers in there who are gunsmiths, and they know how to work on that gun and tweak that gun. Mm-hmm. So it's not just me putting some things on there and tighten them down. You spend some time with this armorer discussing your weapon system, and it's every detail of it is so precision to your particular, whether you're putting trigger job in there or different scopes or different
cool.
pieces, and that doesn't stop just in the ordnance department. You go and you pick up your own dive rig, your own dregger, and that dregger, that box, goes into your cage with you. You get your own you get your own parachute. That parachute goes in your cage.
And you can customize and tweak all that stuff for yourself?
I mean, your parachute and your
life-saving equipment.
Life-saving is going to remain the same,
Yeah.
but the gun and all of that, absolutely. You're completely...
Tweak my headspace and timing, baby.
Yeah.
like the Cold Trickle dude of Days of Thunder. You just
Right.
drive it and they come in and fix it all for you. That's cool.
So from your personal gear is all the top of the line. Everything you get issued, you've heard about the grocery carts going in and picking up your supply items and just loading up with 3 compasses, 3 knives, 3 of everything. And you finally unload that stuff into your cage. And, because all your bags have to be packed and ready to go. You may get recalled and you're running a department doing something. Someone else is going to go and grab your bag and drag it and throw it on the pallet.
The true flyaway bag.
The true flyaways.
You've got them all labeled, ready to go.
So you come into your cage and every single bag is labeled a certain way, certain markings and certain security, not giving out certain information like your social security number. It's not like all your information's written on there. You have a plan, but your shooting partner is very familiar with your cage. Like, so I could go down to my shooting partner's cage, and if he's busy doing something else, I'll grab his gear and go and throw it in with mine.
Oh, cool.
And then come say, hey, I got your bags on the bird or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it keeps going on from there. Every time you show up and the helicopters come in and it's Task Force 160th lands, you're like, you feel it.
Those guys are so gangster, man.
Yeah, you're flying with absolute, just the best possible pilots on Earth, and their machines are top of the line. There's just a certain confidence level that goes into that, and they fly by the seat of their pants. They are just so ballsy,
Man.
Yeah, they're incredible, man. Like just training up. We trained out on an island doing land wolf with them a couple of times, and like, the canals out there, the whole fuselage of the aircraft be down in the canal. The blades are literally a couple of feet off the roads on the side.
Yeah, at night. Dude. It's
crazy. Or on a little bird, doing sniper ops out in Baghdad, like we're 10 feet off the deck on a freeway, just doing like 90 knots, hauling ass. It's just like so
upside
precise.
down and sideways.
I was inverted. Yeah, they're incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the assets, and then just the training venues. It seemed like, in the teams you have to do a lot of those things on your own, and we had to kind of make do with what we had. At that command, you're not having to do everything on your own, and you don't have to make do with what you've got, because it's just constantly evolving, and they're constantly the training is.
You didn't have a whole lot of kilo trucks
No.
picking you up, doing fucking FTXs and shit. You're like, and you'll be inserting by CH-46 by
6x6 by
motherfucker
mod
kilo
dudes.
truck again. And this time you're gonna, when you guys go to egress in Xville, you're gonna steal a Bluebird snow bus or a Bluebird. What is it?
The Bluebird.
Bluebird fucking, a short
36
bus.
pack.
Short bus, yeah.
Snow bus. Where the fuck did that come from? But yeah, I know what you're saying, though. It's fucking, any dudes I've ever talked to went to Damn Neck. They're like, dude, just unlimited budget and unlimited fucking resources for support. Like, you go there and you feel like you're actually supported versus like at the regular team, especially in the early fucking 90s or, mid 90s.
Trying to get shit done.
Before 9/11, it's like making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
I mean,
it's
just
like
building docks or building double docks, like over at the command. Are you guys doing all that in your platoon? That's all getting taken care of for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the primary method of insert is going to be with those HSACs, those big boats anyway, and those will house Zodiacs. Mm-hmm. So we'll have Zodiacs in the bow of those boats. We would jump a Zodiac just as a person, not
like
as
a fucking bundle
on a
or
bundle.
a
We
tandem.
just
Push
that
it
out
out
as a bundle.
Got it.
But for the most part, we weren't building stack ducks and doing those type of insertions. It would more be a high altitude
Right.
piece,
But as far as
flyaway.
as far as setting all that up, though, like that was all taken care of for you.
It's all taken. Now we
like
still,
we're talking like pre what was it, Subpack?
Yeah, pre 9/11. Yeah.
and we would still maintain our qualifications. We still go to jump master course, and we would still dive soup and run hazmat, to stay current and to understand what we're putting on the plane. But yeah, there was someone there. You just don't have time. From notification, your wheel's up in 4 hours.
Yeah.
So every second, from the time you get recalled and get into work is on the clock, and it's moving at warp speed.
Yeah.
Pagers, man.
Ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous
That's
speed.
dope. How was the social aspect coming from a West Coast team to an East Coast team, and then the West Coast dynamic of being out? Because I don't know, I was never on an East Coast team, but I know West Coast teams, there's a lot of social aspect of being in San Diego. There's a lot more places to go, so the social aspect here is a lot more spread out versus the East Coast. The couple times that I've gone over there, man, you go to a bar and like there's at least a dozen other dudes there, team guys there, and chicks are asking you like a number, color type stuff. It's like you're saturated over there. So what was the social aspect moving from the West Coast team to East Coast team? And then also the secondary to that, the aspect of being at Damn Neck on the East Coast and the social sphere there.
So it was. There is some distance between Little Creek and Damn Neck, and you can feel that distance. It's it may take you a long time to get down Bird Neck Road because there's so many stops. There's just a large distance between them. But having a pager on your belt, you definitely, everyone could tell that you're from that command.
Yeah.
We would get a page every night at 6:00 to test your pager. So you got to the point where you knew when it was going to be 6:00 at night. no matter what. So you'd be in a bar, and just like in the movie, when they're at the funeral or the wedding, and all of a sudden everyone's pager goes off. That happened every single night at 6 o'clock. So you'd see if we were all in a bar or restaurant, and you're just watching the time go 5:59, and you just see guys start to reach for their pager and just start to head it off at the pass, and kind of, you couldn't turn it on silent mode, or you couldn't, that thing, if you miss that pager and don't get into work, then you have to leave the team.
Wow, so it wasn't a call-in, it was like you have to act physically go every night.
When that,
you're saying every night for the test? No. Yeah, you didn't have to go in every night.
The 6 o'clock was just a test.
That's just a comms check.
Yeah, just a check. But ultimately, if it was a recall, then you're going straight in. You're just not stopping it. You're not going home and grabbing clothes. You're leaving wherever it is you are and going right to work.
Yeah, that's wild stuff, man.
But the social aspect of it, we hung out in the team room. Our training days were long, even when on standby and on alert. They were full, and when you're on alert, there's a 2-beer minimum. So
minimum or maximum?
Mandatory drink 2 beers.
I got that wrong all along. Shit. No, there's a 2-beer maximum. So you weren't allowed to have more than 2 beers, which meant that your social life was kind of limited when it came to going out and doing that. So I didn't.
How many times the guys fucked that up though?
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah. They just never empty the beer; they just keep filling it up. I'm still on my first one.
My first one.
Still my first one.
The team guys will find a way, man.
Yeah,
we'll find a way. No shit. So what years were you there?
93 to 99.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I was initially I was a comms guy, and then I became an ordnance rep, and that's when I realized just how many weapon systems that team has. There's just from the snipers to the automatic weapons to the various pistols and rifles. One guy might have 4 or 5 weapons, and several different pieces to that, and
that shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah, having to move
SOP mod kit.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can talk about this, but I've heard there's another color cell called black. Is that something we can talk about, or when did that come about?
Well, I mean, there's the sniper element stuff. I was in the sniper element for a small amount of time before I left, and which was kind of wild. I hadn't been to sniper school, but had it scheduled to go, and so I moved from the assault squadron into sniper cell. Did an entire workup. Went to camp. Was that Roberts? Not Camp
Atterbury.
Roberts. No, I know, but out here.
Camp Roberts up by
Coalinga.
Slow?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So I went through all of the processes leading up to going to sniper school, to include live fire sniper shot in downtown LA,
cool.
From one building into another building with people moving around
bullet
below.
Traps and shit.
Bullet traps. And extensive helicopter stuff from the Little Birds, shooting, and just had an incredible time working as a sniper. But then I left prior to finishing or to go into sniper school in that aspect. So, but then the guys that, that were there with me, like Slab, some of these guys went on to do some pretty amazing things, and I went through Green Team with Slab as well.
Oh, cool.
And he was always squared away, and one thing I thought was really neat, and that I was able to do is we would do a demonstration down at Fort Bragg for like dignitaries and congressmen and such like that. And the commanding officer of the team would walk out between 2 balloons, 2 silhouette targets, and we'd have our guys downrange in a sniper hide, and he would walk out and get in between these and stand by, 3, 2, 1, execute. They would shoot those. I've done it. I've shot several times the target with a guy right there in range, and
gust of wind.
So that's a scene for part 2 of that, because remember the Kill House scene in that one where he grabs a chick?
Exactly.
And, there you go.
Firehouse.
Scene done. Yeah, block that, will you, Kevin?
Right. But it was impressive that the CO knew, trusted in us that much.
Yeah.
That he's like, I'm going to step in here and I'm going to show these guys how much I trust you. And you're just sitting there going, I hope I don't miss.
Fuck it up. Yeah, no shit, man.
But your skill level on the gun from the time you show up there, you're able to go to a gun range anytime you want. You can go into your cage, grab your guns, go to the 7-meter range, and start shooting. No range guards, no nothing.
Oh, nice.
It's 24 hours a day you can shoot.
That's cool.
And it makes
unlimited
a big
amount of
difference.
fucking ammo.
Unlimited
too, right?
amount of ammo.
I mean, dude, that's fucking crazy.
Now, I don't know if it's true, but in Green Team, I offloaded all the ammo that was brought in for our Green Team, and they say that it was more than the entire Marine Corps training allowance for 1 year we shot in that 1 8-week Green Team course.
Dang.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, because even when we do an ARG, when we go out with the Gator freighters with all those Marines, and the magazines down below, they said like the allotment for the SEAL platoon on that ship, as far as ammo goes, like far exceeded what all those Marines had on the ship. So
absolutely,
because we'd go up on deck and practice shooting and stuff, we had nothing to do, and I mean, we could have just been tossing Kate. We had so much ammo, we could have tossed that shit overboard. And the poor Marines would go up there with like 3 rounds in their hands, So we're just like, here, giving it to them, we have too much ammo. You guys take the shit. They were just like, oh my God.
This gold's too heavy.
Exactly. Here, you take it. So.
Yeah, when Stump was on a couple weeks ago, he was saying that they do a lot of interoperability with CAG. He was saying that he's actually, when he got shot, he was embedded with the CAG unit. They had 6 guys from Damnick that went with CAG, and then they had 6 CAG guys who went with Damnick. Were they doing any interoperability when you were there?
Absolutely. We were doing some work overseas that we would rotate through, so you'd get some interaction there. But training, we had a guy named Norm Hooten, he's famous from
character from
Black
Hawk Down. So he came up to do a stint with my boat crew for a couple of weeks, and went and did some ship takedowns and did a bunch of things. And it was really unique for me as an operator to have that exposure. Because he's a legendary individual, and I had a lot of respect for him as a human being and as an operator. But it was how humble the guy was, especially he was a fish out of water. Here he's an Army guy doing some frogman stuff, and as you know, frogman stuff ain't easy.
Yeah,
it's a different element. Yeah.
It is a different world from being nice and dry and on land, and it wasn't lost on him. He respected our mission set, and he respected how we assaulted the target. Even though it was different than the way they would do it, he could see, like, okay, you guys aren't stupid. You just do this because you have to do that.
Yeah, the environment kind of dictates.
Absolutely.
It's definitely weird seeing, I know Mo's at the Coast Guard unit now, helping train a lot of these guys at the MSRT, but a lot of their training actually came because of the proximity to Fort Bragg and Camp Lejeune, and so a lot of their tactics and stuff kind of were bred from some of the Sephardic stuff that the Army uses. And I know, like, when I first was at that unit, me and Eddie Lugo stood up that MSRT on the West Coast, and we went out to Lejeune. We're sitting there watching some of the ways that those guys fucking clear shit. And dude, good thing I never had a fucking whistle, because there was times when I'm like, holy fuck, dude, they're literally gonna shoot through targets at each other because they reach some of these different ways. They
Point of domination.
Yeah, and they're running multiple walls, which we tend to not do typically strong walling shit.
It's definitely a different structure.
It's definitely different shit. I don't want to get too much into the tactics of everything, but it's, and as long as everybody's on the same fucking page, it's fine.
Yeah, as long as you know what the other guy's going to do.
Yeah, but it's definitely a fucking a different animal altogether, And
that's evolved quite a bit since you left.
Oh, I'm sure.
Basically doing NSW tactics now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Smart.
How was it working with the guys? Like because Andy described it as basically the same person essentially, right? They just chose a different path. Did you find there was a different kind of culture with those guys, or was it similar, or how was it?
Yeah, I think there is a different culture. And at the time, I don't know, there seems to be an overabundance of personality in SEALs.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So whatever we have a lot of personality. And this was told to me once by a CIA station chief, where we were rotating in and out, and he would say every few months these two guys come in, they've got this certain look and this certain pistol, and at the end of their rotation, I don't know their name, I don't know who they are, and blah blah blah, and blah. And he said this next group will come in, they'll have a different pistol system, they'll have a different this. By the time they leave, I'm invited to their wedding. I know them. I know everything about them. We're best friends. I love the guys. I'll never live my life again without talking to them.
Wait, so which group is which?
Exactly.
So
who's who?
Yeah. So it's and I don't believe that's not being a quiet professional. I just think we just have a certain we're down in the trenches a lot, whether it be on a ship, on an ARG with the Marines, or we're in a different environment. And the Navy has a certain culture that I think translates. And so I do believe there's some differences there. Now, as far as the operator, when it comes to the shooter and being on a range, I'll go toe-to-toe with a guy from CAG just as they would with me, and it's who's best on that day, or who's the best shooter at that point. But as far as skill set, jumping out of a plane, shooting, moving and communicating at that tier 1 level, it's definitely
on the level pretty much.
Yeah, you're on equal terms.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
And I've been overseas as well with some units, Israel and some other units where we're using their equipment and shooting, next to them, and they hold their own as well.
Like twin Uzis.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking Chuck Norris style.
But certainly the guys from CAG are the premier, and you definitely from the facility, the first time stepping into their building and getting a bird's eye view of their world. I went to Free Fall Jump Master in what was called a gentleman's course, or a black course, and it was taught there at their compound. And so I had
to be black.
So we had, so I got a good understanding of them, and it was real neat because, just like you have your trophies and things on the walls here, they had like the cuffs from Noriega and a bunch of the different pieces from some of the hostage rescues they did.
War trophies.
Cool. Yeah, and when you start to peel that back and see what those guys and the guys from Damneck have done in their existence, it's impressive.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, I got to pee so bad.
Jesus
dude. I'm like
Christ.
super hydrated.
Dude, I've been watching you refill that glass multiple times. I'm like,
when I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Sorry. 1 2 1 2.
Check.
Clapping back in for business. Okay, cool. So I have a couple questions on the Damneck thing, because I found it interesting with not just that, but the interoperability with everything. And I know my experience was like, I didn't get to do anything in the SEAL teams. I was there for 10 years, but nothing significant at all. But I did get I was trying to be as good as I could with the opportunities that I was given. And so I was trying to get good at the training stuff and everything. And so I have a little bit of background with shooting, obviously, as we all do. But every time I see on Instagram somebody doing some wacky tactical stuff, it's always an Israeli. It's always they're doing this like hot, weird, like elbow shift, fucking rack their stuff, and it's always just so fucking goofy. And I don't know, it's like, and I understand part of that is probably because they all have to do mandatory service, and they're walking around in civilians with their arms. So I understand why they don't carry one in the chamber. There's a good reason for it. It makes sense. But at the level that you were operating with them, did they still do that stuff, or did they kind of morph into like a more like reasonable tactical posture?
So I've had multiple engagements over there. I've been there maybe 3 or 4 times and worked with them. I've lived in a kibbutz with them, going through training during their rotations. Obviously, they were back then. We were in peacetime and they were at war. Yeah. They've constantly been engaged in that. And I'll give you an example. Some of the things that they were doing that we weren't doing, that I felt was different. But later on, I realized that they were doing the right thing. And here's the example: is that they were very slow and methodical because they had to be, and they used dogs. And because everything is IED'd, everything is booby trapped.
Kind of ahead of their time. In that
right.
thing.
So when I first saw those things, I'm like, come on, go, get in the room. Just like everyone at the time. And obviously we found out later on when we started going into rooms and they were booby trapped or set up for, to take us out, that it was a better tactic to slow and do some combat clearance. Same thing with the canines. I saw them using canines many years before we adopted that. And when I watched them use it was obvious that was something that we could be using. Now to the part as far as like training and training in those tactics, at the tier level, the guys that we were working with, they weren't required to do any of those type of tactics.
Oh, okay.
So we were, I never understood coming out of the holster without a round end and locking it forward and but it made sense to them. And so I don't want to even.
Was that like? What were they like trying to implement some Krav Maga or something, or the way you said they were doing a bunch of wacky stuff with their arms?
Dude, every time you see, Steven Seagal must be their mascot or something, because like they do some wacky stuff. But I've never seen like the top tier guys, so I don't know if that's just their regular dudes doing it.
Gotcha.
I don't know where that kind of falls, because it makes sense for them. If you have a general population, the average. Can you imagine arming every single person in fucking Walmart and they're required to walk around with their M4s loaded? Like, people get shot in the fucking checkout lane for sure. Yeah. So I understand why they don't have like a round chamber in that environment. But it just seems like if you're at a top tier level where your focus is like, this is your main job, that would be a different animal.
Yeah. I just have fucking a flashback to like some of those times you're downrange and you see the regular army dudes, they have those fucking clearance barrels, like sitting outside the fucking gate, and they had them for like 50 cals and shit, for like
for pistols and stuff.
Well, they had for everything, but I just remember a couple times we rolled through the gate somewhere, and like the gate guard's like, oh, go ahead and face your weapon into the barrel and clear it, and we're all like, nah,
fuck you.
Just drive on. And then later on, we'd be out like hanging out, and you'd hear fucking some dude cracked a fucking round off into the barrel.
You're just while he's trying to clear it.
Fucking damn it! Like, how fucking hard is it? Take the fucking round out, then fucking. And is it necessary? You fucking hit the fucking butterfly on the fuck. But it shows so.
I'll bet you had the same attitude with the piss tubes in Baghdad. I ain't using that thing. I'm just pissing wherever I want.
Well, you guys remember when before 9/11 they would sporadically man the gate at the Buds compound. Sometimes there'd be a gate guard there, sometimes they weren't, and they usually weren't armed because it just wasn't. It was a totally different posture back then.
Yeah.
But then after 9/11, they were arming the gate guards there, and slowly but surely, so the gate, for people who don't know, the gate at the Bud's compound is a little like telephone booth looking thing. It's like the size of 2 telephone booths put together, like room for somebody to sit down in a chair, and it's all glass all around, right? And slowly but surely, every single glass space had like bullet holes in it from the inside.
Guys in there bored playing with their guns.
There's like you could see playing like shotgun rounds on the inside, just spider webbing the glass.
Like, Jesus, you guys are morons.
On every single glass. I'm like, okay, I get why there's certain like procedures.
Yeah, I think they ended up having to make some mandatory rules for those guys. Like, they're not even allowed to unholster their weapons unless it was like an actual emergency. Like under no circumstances, because guys would be in there fucking with their pistols, and cracking them off. So
yeah. Didn't they draw down? I think there's this one team guy that was drive his motorcycle on, and then they're like giving him shit. So it was about who's gonna like circle around and drive off, and then the gate guard like drew down on him on his way out.
I know Drago had an incident like that. I don't know if he got drawn down on, but he was coming on his bike, and the gate guard was giving him some shit, and he was getting ready to fucking pound the guy's head in. So, and ended up being a little bit of a hullabaloo. But yeah, I don't know how that ended up.
There was one point where I couldn't find my military ID, and I used to get on base with a McDonald's hash brown wrapper. I just come with a little case that holds a hash brown. I just flash that, and they'd bring me on base. Like
hash brown wrapper.
Hash brown wrapper.
Breakfast of champions.
Yeah, I got on base for a couple weeks before I finally got my ID. So yeah, I was able to go on an operation once in Israel where we took a village, and I went to the Y, and while the assault force went and took the X. And then once, at that staging location, once the target was secured, we then moved in to the X, and we were wearing IDF uniforms. All the weapons were IDF. We probably weren't supposed to be there, as I found out later. But I was just following the guys, the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from them, to tell you the truth. Their operators are younger than us, obviously, in a lot of ways, but the professionalism was certainly there, and the capabilities. They really focused a lot on the information of knowing their enemy, and had a clearer idea of who their enemy was, whereas we were prepared for anyone, anytime, anywhere. They were prepared for these guys right there, right now.
They're good at intel.
Yeah,
they're really good at intel.
Yeah, so their collection was really good, and their focus. They're able to focus in, whereas we had to be, a larger aperture opening up, and we have to, to be able to do. Now they're capable. They jump. They do water jumps and have high-speed boats and do all that stuff. But they don't have the same amount of the ability to train like we do, because they're constantly in the fight.
Yeah.
And they have that's their tier 1 unit, right? It's an Army unit.
It gets confusing, but I've been both with their Navy unit and the other. So we moved around with several different ones.
That's cool.
And got to see the country. I got to do call-in CAS out in this desert location. It took us several hours on a little bird, sitting on a little bird, just freezing my ass off in the rain, going out to this big desert area that we were calling in some F-18s, which is the first time any F-18s had dropped ordnance in there. And there was this cave, and it had some little birds and some DAPs, some gunships. And I was calling in these gunships, and they would come in and shoot. The machine guns would go into this cave, and as soon as they were on target, then they'd launch the missiles. They'd go in and blow up at the back of the cave, and this big fireball would come freaking, blowing out of these
Nice.
caves. And they enjoyed it too. They're like, yeah, I think we saw some stragglers. We're going to come around for a reattack on that target. Boom.
Any appendages from giants come flying out of those caves? You know?
You're looking for the Dead Sea Scrolls from there. But the experience there was pretty humbling to see, you know, the environment that they're fighting in. You know, I've been down to Gaza and been to the Golan and the different areas there, and it's a really small place, and their capability is pretty impressive, to say the least.
That's cool.
Not anymore. I mean, dude, they pretty much turned Gaza into a fucking parking lot at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they bombed the fuck out of that place.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Have you guys seen that team guy? That's my news feed is fucking wild.
It's because you're too busy arguing with people on Reddit.
I think that's I enjoy that. All right, can't a man have a hobby? But so I'm always getting these wacky things in my timeline about so there's this one former team guy, I forget his name, but he's saying that he was on some fucking moon base or some shit, which is totally
it's
wacky.
Jocko. no, not the same Jocko. It's Mike Jaco or Mike Jaco.
Yeah, and
not Jocko. Mike Jaco.
I don't know the
Jaco.
guy, and it seems like just such an absurd thing.
He's a fucking huge I don't even know if it can be construed as conspiracy theorist, but
That's just out
he's got
there.
some fucking sway fucking stories about shit where you're like, what?
He's been, you know, on social media and kind of for quite a while now, and like the stuff that I remember from back in the day, if you will, like it seemed kind of relatively normal, but I think I did see something about that recently.
Yeah, some weird moon base.
And I don't know,
thing.
man. Maybe it's just like desperate for more eyes on social media. Hey, let me say something completely fucking wacky.
I don't know. It just seems kind of strange. I don't know if he's doing it because he actually believes it, or if he's doing it.
I
just
don't
for
know, dude.
Clicks or something, but it seems kind of wild. But
Change the channel.
Was he at Damn Neck? I don't know. I don't know his story.
I don't know his background.
He was an instructor. He was the first phase. They used to call him Jaco lunges, and he was the guy that was just like, "We're gonna do lunges basically till your fucking legs fall off." But he was the first phase instructor when I went through in the 94, 95 era.
Oh,
okay. So you've actually interacted with him on some level, at least. Like, he was actually an instructor when
he
you were
was
there.
an instructor in first phase, but I don't know what teams he was at or any of that shit. But yeah, anybody I've talked to in that regard, they're like, dude, that guy is fucking out there.
It seems
so. I don't know if he was like that in the teams or if he got out. I mean, obviously there's multiple schools of thought there. I mean, there's people that know like Chris Beck, and then they know Kristen Beck.
Right.
They're like, well, dude, he wasn't like that in the teams. He was
True.
Kind of fucking way weirder once he fucking punched out type shit. So I don't know.
And by way weird, I mean way.
Yeah, so I don't know if that dude was like that too. If it's something that fucking traumatic brain injury that did something, or if he was abducted by aliens, or
I don't know, because I would think if you're in the government and you want to keep something secret, it's probably better to not use a team guy to do this stuff. Because you know it's going to end up on a podcast somewhere, you know? But at Damn Neck, I was going to ask, and again, just if you can't answer, don't worry about it, but were there any programs that were like completely separated or kind of just really obtuse stuff that nobody really knew, but it was kind of just really out there stuff that was going on?
There's your answer.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Fair game.
That's funny.
Lots of them.
Yeah. That's
Lots
wild,
of them.
dude.
And it's even harder when you come back into the team room and someone's asking you, what's up with that?
What'd you
What'd
go?
you do? What'd you do?
Fuck
And you're
off.
just like, you know, so being associated with some name of some exercise or some operation, but guys are comfortable with that. And I even got to the point where I'm overseas and I run into some guys that I know, and I had to resist that urge of running up to them and giving them the big hug and calling them by their name.
Interesting.
Because
You
you're
don't know
like,
what
you
cover
don't-
they have right
I
now.
don't know what they're on, what they're doing, who they're saying they are and why they're saying they are that person. So I had that occur where I've, like jumped the gun. I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're like, hey, man, I'm not that person. I'm not that person.
It's kind of like when you had Dirty on here, you know what I mean? He ran into those guys over there and he's like, hey.
I'm not here
Dirty,
either.
I'm not here. I'm not here either.
I'm not here either.
And I've had to do that before where I was doing State Department security for the ambassador in Algeria. I can say all that now, but and we had a Navy ship coming in to resupply the embassy and had a SEAL platoon on there because at the time there was a civil war going on in Algeria and there were a lot of terrorist attacks on every day. You'd hear just machine gun fire every single night throughout the town. And so I went out to meet the ship and talk to the team guys about the security, and we're all bearded out and long hair, and this is in the early 90s. And so you get in there with the platoon and they're all just something in the back of their hair, they're like, something's different with these guys got to be team guys. And
we're pretty easy to spot after a while.
Pretty easy to spot, but it was
Big
cool.
watch, little dick.
Yeah.
I think that's on a plaque somewhere. Big watch, little dick, no money.
No money.
Goddamn UDT.
UDT.
Oh, that's cool, man. So you left the command in '99. Where'd you go after that?
I went to SEAL Team 3 and took a platoon chief, and it was outstanding. I had a choice of going back what teams I wanted, and back then they had they had become the Middle East, the Central Command team.
Yeah.
And I just, with my experience in the Middle East, I just figured that's where we're going to get into something. And so I chose to go back there and was right.
You were right.
Yep.
And
safe bet.
So I deployed with Delta Platoon. We deployed, and the ARG left and went on their deployment. And we stayed back and did a little extra training. And when it was just off the coast of Australia, we parachuted in. We left the States, flew over in a C-130, and did a water jump, and met the ship on September the 1st.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
And so there we are in Australia doing some training, some jumping, some CQB. And as a platoon chief, we were doing some runs in the kill house, and I had a lot of new guys in this platoon because I had just come from DevGru. They stacked my platoon with new guys, which I was completely cool with.
Yeah.
And these guys were like sponges. Every word out of my mouth was gospel, and that was powerful because I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't have the leadership that I needed for some of the other situations, and I fell short a couple of times. It wasn't a perfect experience, but I knew that I was giving them a solid platoon chief experience. And we did some runs, and most of the time doing, back on the Strand, doing the house runs, there was always a critique. I could go through a list. You did this, you did that, you should have gone there, you should have done that, you penetrated too short, whatever it is. And I just looked around and said, that was a good run. We were finally on deployment, and the guys were all singing off the same sheet of music.
I get a lot of that short penetration.
So 9/11 happens while we're in Australia, and it was just like out of a World War II where the vehicles, the shore patrol are driving down the street, and you have just drunk Marines and sailors walking up and down in Darwin, Australia. And you've got the MPs coming down, shore patrol, saying all U.S. Navy personnel and Marines back on the ship immediately.
Oh, wow.
You look up and there's televisions showing the buildings getting impacted, the aircraft hitting the planes hitting them. And so we headed back to the ships, and at that point we knew what was going on. So we all started heading towards Afghanistan, and the Mad Dog was it
Mattis?
Mattis was in charge of the Marines with that group. So we were in good hands. We got off the coast of Pakistan, and on October 7th, when the war actually started, we knew the T-LAMs were about to launch, so we went up there, countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whoosh, just watched just dozens and dozens of Tomahawk land attack missiles.
That's gotta be fucking
So that was
crazy.
the first
The first salvo. Yeah. So we
That's cool.
literally did a countdown and watched those just from all the various ships throughout the Gulf there, or the area that we were in off of Pakistan. And as soon as that volley was complete, we hopped on helicopters and headed into Pakistan. And we were in Pavlos, the MH-53s, the Air Force versions. And so we're coming up over the mountains, having to do in-flight refueling. And I had my headphones, I was monitoring the pilots and as a platoon chief, and I just had my helmet off, kind of strapped, sitting on the back. And we're cruising along, and all of a sudden, the back door gunner on both aircraft, I could see the rear aircraft, and I was in the lead. All of a sudden, you see them lighting up their 50 cals. And immediately, I hear the pilots, and both aircraft just start. And then all of a sudden, you hear across the bottom of the aircraft, and the flight crew took a frag from one of the rounds, and realized, okay, that they're not just sending some rounds down there just to check the guns. It was go time. And it was just immediately, you're like, okay, this is how this thing is going. And luckily, because that platform had some armor protection, some blankets, and some other pieces that protected, there wasn't any airframe damage. That the aircraft pilots calmed down. I took the headphones off, sat them down,
Put your helmet on.
put my helmet on, and said, I'm not listening to those guys up there. And we continued on into the airfield in Pakistan, and right outside of the base there, a guy on a camel with an AK decided to light us up again. And that just became the norm every time we flew out of that area, that we were going to get, some flares were going to go off and you were going to get lit up by someone. And we ended up standing up a personnel recovery and basically working with the STS, the Special Tactics Squadrons, and would go into Afghanistan and either recover wounded or several incidents happened where a helicopter crash landed, and you had to abandon that helicopter and do self-SAR, and then we would go in and recover, and then they would just blow that helicopter up, drop a JDAM on it. So that was the primary missions coming out of Pakistan during that time.
Wow.
What part of Pakistan was it?
It was
right on the border?
We were in Jacobabad, which was just like an airfield. But we went all over the country. We would fly into these desert airfields, airstrips, like Dalbandan and a few others that were staging areas. And you'd run into guys from Dam Neck or the other commands everywhere. Like, it didn't matter whether it was combat controllers that were there surveying airfields or airstrips. So, we went in October 17th with General Tommy Franks, and he had a platoon of Rangers for security, and we were providing security for the air crew. And we flew into Bagram Airfield, and there's still a tank battle going on with Northern Alliance folks and Taliban. And I remember getting off the plane, and there's an active minefield right there next to it. And this combat controller comes up in his ATV, and he's looking over and he's like, "Who are you guys?" He goes, and I look at him. I'm like, "We're blue." And he goes, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Booty, is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, hey, Billy, what's up, man? How you doing?" And that happened almost any place you went. Another experience like that on that same exact mission. Here's how much it was. General comes back. He gets back on the plane. There's also the British SBS, and they came in with these white Land Rovers that are Land Rovers, had some like NATO markings on it, and they were all dressed in regular Afghan gear.
Garb.
And they all get on the plane. I'm the last one on the plane. I get a head count, and I tell the air crew, "Hey, we're ready to roll." And I sit down next to this dude. He's sitting there rubbing his beard. I look over. I'm like, "Steph?" He's like, "Todd?" I'm like, "Dude, what's happening?" We talk for about 15, 20 minutes. We take off, fly into K2, and say goodbye. He gets on a helicopter with the SBS guys and goes to a little prison uprising down the road, and the rest is
that Steph Bass?
Steph Bass.
Oh shit! So that was the op that he did
Mazar-e Sharif.
Mazar-e Sharif. Yeah. So you just run into you'd run into guys any and everywhere you can imagine, because they were all just trying to get into the fight. You know, they were all just leaning as far forward as humanly possible. And just looking for any opportunity to go in and get involved. If there was a helicopter going somewhere and I couldn't get on it, I would highly encourage my guys to get on it. I'm like, get on a bird, go in there and do something, find work. And it was a healthy deployment. The problem though was that we weren't working for anyone directly. Our leadership, our task unit leadership, was on a ship somewhere else, or they were somewhere else. And when you don't have a boss who's taking credit for your actions, and
you need that
seeking
representation,
gainful employment type shit,
right?
Yeah.
So eventually, we were given some orders to where we went into Afghanistan for good, and that was in December, the first week of December, and we were doing SR, surveillance reconnaissance, mainly of the outer areas of Kandahar. At the time, we took SEAL Team 3 Alpha Platoon did a recon of Rhino, Camp Rhino, Objective Rhino in the south, and they left 4 vehicles there, Humvees. They were just cleared out Humvees, and so we came in and then took those Humvees and used those as our recce vehicles and started doing desert patrols in towards Kandahar. Ultimately, that base started, Task Force K-Bar, Captain Harward and his group of leadership started to move in to Rhino, and we conducted like a 15-vehicle convoy and drove into Kandahar airfield and took the airfield, which was incredible because you'd been studying these things. There's still bomb craters in all of the runways, and Tarnak Farms is right there, bin Laden's terrorist camp.
Yeah.
And that was the first place that we went. So as soon as we got into the area and secured it, we said, all right, this is your guys' section. Our first objective was to go and clear the Russian barracks that was next to them and Tarnak Farms. And
was he there?
He wasn't. He was not there.
Damn it.
To my surprise. I was hoping that he was. But there was a lot of weird, the ground was still fresh. Like you could, the fires were still warm. There were still carcasses and things left over. The bomb craters were still smoking. There were still landmines visible everywhere you looked. And I was I was very happy that our platoon was able to experience that and be a part of it. We did some really good work. It wasn't the direct action raids of
not super kinetic.
It wasn't super kinetic. It was mostly surveillance and reconnaissance, but we also played a big role in the recovery of the first JDAM, that blue-on-blue friendly fire, where the SF group, one of the radio operators had changed the batteries in their GPS, and when they got on the radio to make a call for fire, they gave away their position, and the bomb, the 2,000-pounder, landed exactly where their position was.
Yeah.
So, again, I sent my medics on a helicopter to go out there, and we went and set up the triage for that. And the helicopters came in with those guys, and Karzai was one of them, who ended up being the president of Afghanistan. He came off of that helicopter, eyes just
1,000-yard stare.
1,000-yard stare, and the guys were in really bad shape. Most of them, that was the first real casualties of the war, and I remember carrying them off of that, and I had met that same group while we were in Pakistan, so we knew who these guys were. We all launched out of that same base, so I remember watching them. We assisted with launching them into the theater, and so it was a pretty eerie scene to see that much carnage. And I was proud of that. We had the best medics. Our 18 Deltas, the guys were just far and above anything I had seen, to the point with the two Marines I was speaking earlier who stepped on a landmine, and my platoon were the first responders to that. As far as we were just sitting there, all of a sudden we hear boom, boom, and I look over at the LPO. I'm like, get a head count, because the guys had just spread out to go look around and do whatever guys do. Everyone knew, and they started coming back because they heard it as well. They all came back. We got a head count, and about that time, a Marine vehicle pulled up and said, "Hey, we had a couple guys in the minefield over there. Do you have a medic?" And we're like, "Yeah, we got really good ones."
Not for you.
So we moved over to that position, and sure enough, you see these two dudes laying out there in this field, and there was no shortage of answers for what we needed to do, but it was pretty clear what needed to happen. So we made the decision, moved in, and grabbed these two guys, pulled them back, and our guys start going to work on them.
You guys had to cross the minefield to get them?
Yeah, they had to go in through, kind of follow through an area and pull them back. And just watching our guys, the confidence they had working on these guys, there was a lot of pride in that. I really was stoked on that.
Just another goat lab for them, probably.
Yeah.
They've probably done it a million times. Yeah. Maybe not a million, but.
Or that time frame, I wonder, probably a couple of your new guys. I don't know if it was with your platoon, but like Heath Robinson or.
They were an Alpha.
Oh, okay.
Our sister platoon.
What about, who's Chris Osborne?
Osmond,
right?
That was their sister platoon.
Okay, gotcha.
So we got into, those guys came in and relieved us in Kandahar. So we turned over with them.
Okay.
And part of that is, they had their leadership. They had been working with the task group all along, whereas we were an outside entity. So we were an unknown, even though we were a known entity.
Yeah.
We didn't have that working relationship with the task group like they did.
Gotcha.
And then they went and, did their thing, and, the rest is history.
Shit, man.
Just ask Brandon Webb.
Right? Fuck, man.
He was in that platoon, right? He was in Osmond's platoon?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy how everything's connected, man. All these stories that you hear fragments of.
Like you said, just running into people all over the globe. You know, hey, is that you? No,
Everywhere.
it's not me.
That's fucking crazy.
Man, you've had such a charmed career. Like the timing of everything you're involved in.
I had a good run at things, and you always question that if shoulda, coulda, woulda, if I had done this or done that, and every single one of the guys in my platoon came home, and as platoon chief,
big win.
I took risk as much as I could. So we had a great platoon commander, and had an incredible LPO, and we were the Liberty risks. The top 4 of our platoon were definitely. I was a single platoon. I was a senior chief as the platoon chief, but we were the ones most likely to get in trouble out in town.
That's crazy.
Were there any crazy stories that you can share on here?
I'd probably rather not. Most of them, I think the ones that I would tell ended up, I don't have any good ones right off the cuff.
Fair enough.
That aren't well thought of right now.
They're like the Forrest Gump of team guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like in right place, right time, minus the retard shit. Like right place, right time. Like you hit Desert Storm, you hit the fucking beginning of fucking Afghanistan. I mean, fuck, man. There's 20-year or 30-year Master Chiefs that literally missed fucking pieces of everything. Yeah. Like dudes who never really did shit in SEAL teams, and that's pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, timing's a lot, man. I did 10 years. I didn't get to do a goddamn thing. It's very frustrating.
Get out of here, turd.
That's a funny bar fight story. That's all I got out of it.
Now, one of the interesting things out of that is when I said we were going to go take Tarnak Farms in the Russian barracks, we needed EOD support. So our platoon, what I'll call first contact, is we made first contact with Alex Sonnenberg.
Oh, yeah.
I know Alex, his name will most likely come up in this circle often, I imagine. And so we brought him on as an augment to our platoon, and then he became really close with one of our guys in our platoon, and he ended up going to Green Team, and our relationship, our friendship became very close from that point.
Where was he? Was he on the ship, or where did he come from?
He was with the EOD mobile unit, and they had augmented an SF group.
Oh, okay.
And he had been working with some Green Berets, and we just happened to need some EOD support for that mission. And it was, we really actually did need it. We found depleted uranium missiles, like just boxes and boxes full from the Russian that they had left behind. We would go down in these basements in the Russian barracks. They had space helmets from their high flying warplanes.
Yeah.
They had space suit, all kinds of stuff.
Dude, that's rad.
It was really cool.
Nice to throw that in a cruise box and bring that shit home. You know what I mean?
Right. I did. I brought home a helmet and some things, but I ended up giving it away or something. And I don't have any of that stuff anymore. I wish I did. But
that's fucking nuts.
But that was first contact with Alex, and he obviously became a big part of a lot of team guys' lives, and was such a good dude.
Yeah, it seems like the shitbags live forever, and the great dudes end up getting killed, man. Fuck, man. Maybe that's why we're still alive.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Oh, man.
So you got back from that deployment. Is that when you transitioned to BTC?
So it was a real quick. The only reason I went to Buds in the first place is because I was coming up on 19 years of sea duty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so they said,
Sorry to interrupt. So did you do just the one platoon at 3? Or okay.
Yeah.
Then you transitioned. Okay, got it.
So I transferred over to Special Boat Squadron, which became Group 3. I was a plank owner at Group 3. And so during that time, we were gearing up for the 1003 Victor, which was the Iraq War. So because I was at Group 3, we were going to be the deputy commander under Group 1 for the Iraq thing.
Yeah.
So I just happened to be around a team guy who was just a really good ops guy. He understood operations really well. And he was reading the 1003 Victor War Plan. And as he was seeing it, he goes, we're going to be the deputy, our Commodore is going to be the deputy, so let's position a couple of LNOs overseas. So he and I went to Qatar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we went to Qatar and to Soxent and stood up. I took over the fire support and aircraft requests for all of the task group.
Yeah.
So for the Alpha Peninsula and Maybot and Kayot, every aircraft request, even for lift helicopters, for gunships, for any type of fire support, I coordinated all of those requests and then helped communicate all that information down to the platoons.
Nice.
So
your radio days are coming back.
But what it did also is allowed us from Qatar to constantly start moving towards the fight. So we were at Qatar and we're going, well, they're probably going to need a fire support officer in Kuwait that knows all the stuff we're doing here. So we moved to Kuwait, and that's where I was able to call an AC-130 in on Saddam's boat.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was sitting over in Qasr near Basra, and the platoons had already taken. They were in the process of taking Alpha and Maybot and Kayot, and so I had an AC-130 that was flying over there, and there was movement on the ship, and they're like, "We've got a clear shot on there," but they needed an operator to call cleared hot. So it's just sitting there in a tent at the task group with ISR footage, of what they're seeing. We see the boat. I'm like, cleared hot. See dudes diving off the boat. Just.
That's rad.
I'm assuming that was like 2003-ish, or
Yep,
okay.
April 2003.
Yeah. All right.
But it was cool because, as I said later, I was able to go up the Shat Al Arab in the Sakars and drive right past it. We ended up getting the Polish Grom.
Grom, yeah.
Came
Great guys,
in,
yeah.
Great guys.
Well, we were co-located with them in Camp Jenny Posey.
Yeah.
We operated
Awesome.
a lot with those guys.
So when I had them working with my, it wasn't a task unit. It was just the boat team, myself, another naval officer, and like I said, we had a Marine gunny. It just had strange
Hodgepodge.
Fucking hodgepodge.
Yeah.
And we had the 4-2 Commando Brigade from the British, and they were in little just river boats, little fishing boats.
No shit.
It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, think of just like a bunch of infantry dudes, or, they're Marines, they're badasses, and they're just cruising upriver in these little flat bottom boats.
In a sampan.
Fucking
Yeah, you
John
just
boat.
lift them up and move them around. There's a lot of bridges or stopping devices.
Yeah.
At one point, we had a helicopter have to lift our Sakars up and sling load them over and drop us into the opening of the waterway.
Beaver bridges.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, those pontoon bridges and shit. Whatever fucking platoon it was like in 08, 09, we were located in Basra, and we fucking all up and down that fucking river. And there was so much shit sunken, and but we were up and down that fucking river all the time, getting fucking like dickheads on camels fucking taking pop shots at us from Iranian side and shit. You're like, you motherfucker.
Well, with the Grom, we took all of those derelict vessels that are.
Yeah.
So we were doing shipboarding mostly, and they were aggressive. Those guys wanted to get after it. They're
Absolutely.
like, "Hey, let's go on." I'm like, you know, on occasion they would tune it up.
Hold your wad there, fella.
Chill it out a little.
Yeah, they're pretty aggressive.
Totally, yeah. We were with them in Baghdad and up in Mosul in '03 and leading into '04 as well. But yeah, super aggressive guys, great guys.
That was the whole reason for bringing Drago in.
Yeah.
Like literally, he joined our platoon in like June of '03 when we were there.
And then I relieved you, and then when I left, he just stayed.
That motherfucker just stayed there.
Yeah.
He like made it a habit to just.
Yeah, I think he bought some property in Baghdad.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Was he deployed for like 2 years straight or some shit over there?
Something like that.
He was there for a while, man.
Yeah, he was there for a long time.
But yeah, he was good guy. But those dudes were legit.
One of the good things I was able to do, because once everyone started moving in to their objectives, as the fire support officer, I would establish no-fly zone or no firing zones around our operators. So if the platoon was here, I was coordinating with all of the air assets and their control measures, and I would just put a restricted fire area on top of that platoon and coordinate to make sure that no one inadvertently bombed our guys.
Smart, yeah.
And in one such case, the platoon had a DPV in the back of their 53, and it had a hard landing and smashed the landing gear, and couldn't get that DPV out of the back.
Yeah.
And it also damaged maybe some of their comm gear because they didn't have. So I ended up flying in with the Kick 13, just loaded up to go and rearm these guys with their crypto. And again, it was just being able to hop on a helicopter and take off, and there's just a certain peace and quiet and enjoyment in flying around in a combat zone with no boss and nothing.
Awesome.
I bet.
Unbothered by fucking.
Unbothered.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I mean, just being able to. Fuck it, I'll go.
Yeah,
you need Kick 13?
I'm right there.
There you go.
And so we land this helicopter, and I just walk out, and I knew the platoon chief. I knew all of the guys on the ground, but they're not expecting you. They're not expecting anything, and you just hop out, and you're like,
"Gotcha, boys.
Here's a Kick 13." They're like,
"Navy SEALs, I'm here to get you out."
Yeah. Just load up a little equipment, and then all right, see you guys later.
I love it.
It was awesome.
That's badass.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You're taking a little quick break?
Yeah.
Sure. Cool.
Wipers!
Back in. Let's do this. Okay, cool. So we're talking on the break a little bit about thanks for sharing these stories. This is so cool. Like, even as a team guy, there's so many stories that you hear, but I've never had the opportunity to like piece all of them together, and you're in all of them, or know like the people that were in it. So it's cool to hear them like firsthand. So we've talked a lot about war stories, fun stuff, but you've done a lot after the teams as well. So maybe now's a good time to talk about the stuff that you've done. We were talking on the break about you speaking in front of Congress for the ibogaine stuff, and then also the film stuff that you guys have actually worked on projects together too. So there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about in like the next chapter.
Right. Yeah. So the ibogaine initiative that you hear from all over the place. It's on the Joe Rogan program, and the way that all came about is when I retired, I went to the VA and was handed a handful of pharmaceuticals. Here's your Zoloft. Here's your pill that's
Viagra.
Here's all these pills that are going to help you be less anxious person, or I had a lot of hypervigilance, and I thought I was doing pretty well, but when your relationships are falling apart and you're just struggling with basic things that you shouldn't be struggling with, it's good to take a look and see if there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And the VA, they helped me out, but they were real quick to hand me a bunch of pharmaceuticals, and they just had a very negative effect on me. Every single one of the side effects hit me like a freight train. and I didn't want anything to do with it. So I found out that these guys, through Alex Sonnenberg, that the guys were going down to Mexico to do the Ibogaine treatment. Ultimately, they formed a foundation called VETS, Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions. Marcus Capone and his wife Amber started that foundation, and they provide grants to operators to go and do the medicine. So I went down to Mexico. I took the Ibogaine, and it just immediately I wanted that out of my system. It was the most intense feeling of confusion. My brain, I'm just like, I want this medicine out of my body. And they'll tell you that the only way out is through, is one of the things that they say to you. And so I kept going through my mantra in my head that, you know, this is all part of the process. Just go with it and go with it.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace it. And once I did, all of a sudden, I settled into what would be 8 hours of just this constant shuffle of my life experiences before my eyes. And, you know, you didn't know what it was going to be about. What are your hang-ups? Is it combat? Is it this, or is it the other? And what we found out, a lot of us were holding on to childhood traumas or experiences that went bad in our youth, whether it was abuses or you know, physical or mental, emotional traumas. So I came out of it with just a great deal of clarity, and physically no longer had that irritation, that kind of monkey on my back that was, you know, I call it brain fog, but I've had some TBIs along the way, whether they're from explosive blasts being too close to a breach, or diving in the deep end or shallow end of a pool and smashing the bottom of the pool deck and being knocked unconscious, to even an airbag, you know, smashing a vehicle into a ditch out at John Shaw's shooting school. I folded a vehicle in half. You know, that ditch right there.
Yeah.
I just missed that turnoff. And to add ins,
That's
like-
exactly what you
it's
mean.
like,
Yeah.
Hey, John, can you install a fence here?
and of course, what do? I fold this vehicle, you know, airbag went off, my head smashed, and they're like, get your gear on, we're going in the kill house. Boom, boom, right into a breach, right into clearing rooms. So over time, I think that stuff added up, and I could tell that I was a little slower, a little dull on some of my things. And the experience in Mexico just shut down a lot of that. Like immediately the hypervigilance was gone. Immediately any anxieties or depression that I felt was erased. And I felt incredible. So when I left that, I wanted to scream it from the top of the mountains. I didn't want to be the one holding the secret, you know. Especially
a good secret.
A good secret when we got buddies that are out there harming themselves and doing things. If we can get in the way of someone from, you know, suicide is not something that my brother took his own life, and it just breaks my heart to think of any of these guys. These guys are our buddies, and you know, it's the last thing I want to see is them hurting themselves. So when VETS was really pushing to try to get this so that we don't have to go to Mexico. You know, why do we have to leave this country to get help?
Yeah.
And so they started lobbying Congress. First, I believe it was with Texas. You have Marcus and Morgan Luttrell doing great things out there with Governor Rick Perry. And they started the initiative in California, which was Assembly Bill 1103. And I went and lobbied at the California State Congress, and then I went and testified before Congress. And that was the first time, I've been on film sets with you guys multiple times, but I'm always playing a character or I'm someone else. This was kind of the first time that I put myself out there and said, hey, I have some faults and some failures, and I'm going to tell you about them.
It was a great clip. Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
So, that it was important to do it because the message, I believe, is necessary, and it worked. They passed. It was bipartisan, both sides. It was unanimous across the board, and now is law. So AB 1103 is now it is legal for us to study psychedelics for traumatic brain injury and PTSD or PTSI or PTS, whatever you want to call it, for veterans. And Stanford has done a study and had overwhelming results. Ultimately, I got involved with the making of the film In Waves and War, which is an incredible documentary.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
really well done.
Yeah, the directors and the producers, they came to my house and interviewed me for the part, as part of that film. But I didn't have enough facial hair, so they ended up choosing me.
Let's get DJ.
No, but
we need somebody else.
Ultimately, when you look at the three guys that are represented in the film, it's a perfect collection of, they did platoons together, they worked together, and it really puts together a good picture. And I've watched the impact of that film in my community. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a screening next month for the veterans in my community and others, and I've spoken at several screenings of the movie with the director, and it was good for me as a filmmaker to see what an impact a film can make on an issue, because it just gives a very good demonstration of A, why these guys need it, and B, why we need to have this medication, and why it's good.
So is what was the bill called again that became law?
It's AB 1103.
Now that authorized the research, but it's not legalized yet for the actual treatment to take place in California?
Absolutely, it was not for recreational use. It had nothing. They steered completely away from that argument, because that's a different argument altogether, and it's focused primarily on access to study it. Because it was a Schedule 1, they can't even touch it.
I see.
They can't do anything. They can't even do any research.
But the next step, hopefully, would be actually being able to receive treatment here in the United States.
That is the goal.
Yeah, okay.
And it will happen. Now, ultimately, ibogaine itself comes from the root of the iboga plant in Gabon, Africa, and it has certain alkaloids that can affect if you had a bad heart, a bad ticker. So, pharmaceutically, they'll find a way to synthesize it and take out the bad particles and keep the good particles. But personally, the whole plant, in my opinion, is going to be better than a partial plant as far as
I mean, has there been anyone that's gone down there that's had like any heart-related issues with that shit? Or
they've had deaths.
Oh fuck!
Not teen guys.
Yeah.
Prior,
But prior and recently.
Oh, really? I didn't know about
within
that.
the past month or so, a couple of months ago, and you don't know who's
administering
or because it's not controlled. There's
the environment. I went into the treatment too. It was under a different. It was called Mission Within.
I did the Mission Within.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah. And wow, really highly controlled.
Who does it now?
Absolutely.
Well, vets. I think they do a merge or something. Was the Mission Within still existing? Or
They do. They're using Ambio Life Sciences.
Yeah.
Okay. But it was think there was 6 of us when we did it, and it was a 1-to-1 ratio with doctors.
Yeah.
So each person had a doctor, and you're fully. Yeah, it was.
You say you took it, you're like, okay, I'm dead.
No, that was 5-MeO-DMT, which comes after.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so that's the piece. Yes, we're doing it in a controlled environment with a doctor. We did integration prior to going there, where we did a full labs, had all of our, vitals checked and whatnot.
And I had cardiac issues prior to going, and they did all that stuff, and like, yeah, you're going to be all right. So
yeah, and you're connected to EKG, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
But the results are astonishing, and it's changed so many lives. Like I came out of that, was kind of depressed before, and I came out of that just motivated. I signed up for film school, and I've been doing that now, halfway through that. And it just became, just opened up an entire new avenue of things that before I was just kind of slowing down on things. My mind was saying that, that you need help, but I just didn't want to keep taking these pills,
So needed, man. We've had 2 team guys kill themselves in the last 2 weeks, man. And like Josh Pressler, just going to his funeral tomorrow, and then
Andrew Honeyman,
a couple days ago. And I'm like, dude, like, so where can people reach out for something like this?
If you're in our community, then vets is what I would say is your first go-to.
Yeah.
You reach into to that organization, and they're going to reach back to you and get you help. Now, it's become pretty popular now.
Yeah.
So
Prolific now, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what the waiting list's like or how that works, but generally speaking, they're gonna move mountains to get you to get you help.
If somebody's coming from not the spec work community, but like a regular Army or maybe like first responder community, is there anything set up for those guys that they can access some of the program?
Absolutely. There's a ranger who has a foundation called Heroic Hearts, and I know that they're providing similar service.
Cool.
And then there's a whole host of folks that are doing other modalities such as ayahuasca and psilocybin. They talk a lot about MDMA and ketamine and other treatments that are all part of this psychedelic medication. And that's why, for example, if your heart troubles are, it's too dangerous to do Ibogaine, for example, there's no, Ibogaine's the sledgehammer of them all. It is going to knock you on your ass. But along that line, all the other ones are still extremely effective in reaching. It's just with that compound, it has some very unique capabilities that I don't think anyone is able to explain, but definitely it works. It works for me.
Yeah, and VETS is vetsolutions.org.
Veterans. Oh, okay. That's
That's their website.
Cool. So that kind of woke you up into moving into the next chapter, which is films. How many years ago was that, or how long ago was that you got on that path?
I did the medication, I believe it was 2020, 2021.
Okay.
So we were just coming out of COVID or just around that. And, it was an incredible experience. It would change my life. So when they asked me to go and testify before Congress, I said, absolutely. Whatever I can do to help you guys.
Marcus and Amber, they're fucking good dudes.
Yeah.
They're
good people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, what did you think of your experience on 5-MeO-DMT?
Now, and that's the 5-MeO-DMT they call the God molecule. And it, had a different effect. Whereas the Ibogaine was focused, I didn't see my fallen comrades, or I didn't feel the combat deaths didn't show up in my Ibogaine experience. But when the 5MEO showed up, all of them were there. Lou Langless was there. Frickin' Alex Sonnenberg was there. My dad, my brother. So my 5MEO section was dominated by spirits of past, folks and friends of mine that had died.
Do you feel like you could talk to them, like interact
I did.
with them?
I felt like I was in a experience, and there's all of these folks just in that. We just kind of hung out for a few minutes, and I didn't really have the words to talk to them, but I think what they, we held space.
Was there any kind of conversation, or is it just kind of like just a
acknowledgement of each other?
The only thing that was more of an acknowledgement I remember saying, and the reason I do is because I was on film. When I first got down to Mexico to do the medication was when I met the director of In Waves and War and the producer, and they asked me, would you mind if we filmed you doing psychedelic drugs? And I said, yes, whatever. And I never felt them as a filmmaker. It taught me something too.
That's good.
Is that I didn't feel their cameras. I didn't feel their presence. They weren't pushy. They weren't trying to ask me anything. They were
Todd, find the lens.
Yes. Can you speak up a little bit? But it, the experience was very impactful, and I appreciated it very much. I'm glad that I did it.
Man, that's awesome, dude. If anybody is if anybody listening is even thinking about this might be for them, dude, just please
reach out.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Take a chance, say yes, like just fucking try it, man. I mean, 2 guys in 2 weeks, dude. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's still going on. Just you'd think it would kind of taper off, but doesn't seem to be the case.
I mean, everybody's got their reasons, and when you're in that space, you feel alone, or maybe you don't care about all the other stuff. But like, dude, other people care. Other people give a shit. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
All right,
so
lighter
way
stuff.
to put a fucking downer on fucking episode.
Anyway, so the Hollywood stuff. So were you, because you guys worked together on films before, was that before the Abigail stuff or after?
Okay, yeah. So growing up in Los Angeles, I was around some pretty powerful stunt people, men and women. My best friend, his uncle, Bob Hareggi, was Steve Martin's stunt double, and so any movies of the 80s, he was Harrison Ford's stunt double, and
Nice.
one of those
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And just so I grew up around these epic stunt guys, and I always had like, all right, that's kind of cool, but I didn't see like that was what I was going to do. I was going to join the Navy and be a frogman, period. But it was, I got a call once. It was from Humphreys, the Humphreys group, and Harry, and they said, we've got this movie. Do you want to come work on it? It was called Iron Man. And I went out to the Alabama hills in near the base of Mount Whitney. And I was out there with Tyrone Woods. And a couple other guys, and
I think Yost was there too.
Yost
right?
was there.
And,
yeah.
And
so we were basically special abilities extras, just guys in military uniform, and I'm like, what are they? Iron Man? It's a cartoon? Are you kidding me? Because they hadn't done any of these Marvel movies yet. Mm-hmm. And I showed up on set, and the director was Jon Favreau, and then you had. What's his name?
Robert Downey.
Robert Downey Jr. comes walking out, and they say action, and I watch that scene. I'm like, this is going to be a good movie. I had no clue. I mean, up until that point, I thought it was just some silly thing.
It's going nowhere.
Going nowhere. And so that kind of started my interest. But then a few years later, we jump into, I was still active duty at that time. And I just, passed it off and went about my day. But then in 2016, when I was retired, and I was going through some personal a divorce at home, and I was ready to change everything in my life. And I got another call from the Harry Humphreys group and said, "Hey, do you want to come work on this movie?" And it was Transformers.
We're killing robots.
We're doing robots. And that was my first real exposure to being on camera as something a little more than an extra. I got to do some lines for that. So having Michael Bay with the big camera in your face, there's some excitement, and I enjoyed it. And then I started doing technical advising, just like Kevin. No one does it as good as Kevin. I'll admit, I'm not.
He's got a special touch.
There's a special touch that to be able to communicate to so many different people like that and get them to do different things. I'm a little rough around those edges, or I just don't. The words don't deliver as sharply as this guy. So when I do make a big movie, I'm going to be calling Kevin for sure to organize that. But I did find my niche, behind in Video Village, and I believe that I was giving sound advice. But I had I still have a friend of mine from high school who became a film producer. And I was at my high school reunion, and he's like, "Hey, what have you been up to?" I said, "Well, I'm in the SEAL teams, I did this, and this." And at the time, I had just come back from overseas, and I had like a hard landing in a helicopter, and not a helicopter crash, but a really hard landing. And I was telling him about it, and I think this one was in South Korea. We were on an exercise, and his question was, "Well, what would have happened if you were on the north side of the border?" And that led to about 10 years of back and forth.
Oh, wow.
And he would send a script to me, or I would go down to a meeting in Hollywood and meet with some writers, and we'd put some ideas down. And a couple of years ago, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, I'm sending you the script. We're in Canada. We're going to make this movie. Do you want to come and be a part of it?"
That's awesome.
So I went up and was the associate producer and the military advisor, and we filmed a movie called Valiant One. And it's, a helicopter goes down in North Korea, and this team of Army guys has to get back across the border and basically self-evacuate themselves from the battlefield. And as I was, by that time I had a lot of experience in film, but I still didn't have enough influence to make a perfect movie, meaning there were still mistakes, or I had trouble communicating to some of the other departments, and
what your vision was, or
just I just didn't have even though I'd been around all these the camera guys, the lighting guys, and all these different departments, I didn't pay too much attention to how everything affected each other, and I just wasn't as effective as I could have been. So I decided to go to school, and I couldn't be. It was the best thing possible, because now I understand why this happens and that happens in this order and that order.
Seeing the bigger picture.
Seeing the bigger picture, and I know that I can make a bigger difference behind the scenes and for the movies that I'm going to make.
That's cool. What's the goal with going to film? That obviously gives you. I don't know, but I would imagine that would give you more depth in which to operate. Like, what's the goal with the next move on
Well,
that?
the goal is I'm not set up at my age to continue being a stunt guy and just falling, running out and doing a shoot. I'll still do it. I don't mind being on anything to get on set is a good thing for me. I love being on set. But I would often, as you know, it's like, hey, here's a script. Why don't you fill in all the blanks with all the hard information? Like, give me all those hard details that are impossible to find and make our film better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a very creative person, as team guys are in general. You know, we're very used to coming up with creative solutions to complex problems. So I've handed away more good stories than I'm ever going to do. So from here on out, I'm going to make those movies.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I watched.
Yeah, I was going to say those are some hard fought battles, doing shit for free.
Yeah.
For years, where people are like, hey man, what do you think about this? And you're like, motherfucker, like, great, giving away shit for free. I'm sure I have no fucking hope or expectation of being on set for this fucking film. You know,
away the gold.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, and that was it. And as I said before, I'm a comm guy. So here's this movie that I'm doing up there, and we have this comm dialogue where they're talking to the talk, and I wanted to make sure that they didn't screw that up because I'm the tech advisor. And so I did the voice for the guy for the talk. And one word in particular is say again. You know, I say again over. And no matter what, I'm like, I want to make sure I say that because I know what they're going to do. And what did they do in post-production? They took that out and they said, repeat.
Repeat.
Yeah.
I repeat. And I'm just like, there's a reason
You don't
that
say
you don't
repeat,
say
yeah.
these things. And
Did you say no?
Bombed.
No, I said go.
Another bomb lands on your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a reluctance to use, you know, they'll use you for production, but then post-production, they'll just come in and wipe away all the stuff you just did all this work on.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed in that, and I just said, you know what, if I have control over it, and I saw what it was, you know, we made, I think it was a $20 million movie, and it was in 1,000 theaters, and my mom got to go see
Oh, that's cool.
my name on the
That's cool.
screen.
That's
And
really
cool.
I thought that was a really neat experience. And having watched these guys make In Waves and War, I saw an independence with documentary filmmaking in particular. And so I want to make movies, and you know, I don't know if that's going to lead me directly into documentaries as my focus, but I plan to be a director.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how is it you guys all working together on set?
Yeah, it was cool. I know. So when we were both in the same group on, this was Transformers 5, which was a really weird, for instance, because we went on thinking we're going to be in this movie for the long haul. And then I just remember being, we were in Michigan, in Detroit. And Bay comes up to me, he's like, hey, who's the new group of team guys that are coming in? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
News
And
to
then,
me,
of course, Bay looks at me like I'm a complete fucking retard. And he goes, basically like, you don't know fucking shit. I'll ask Harry. He goes over to Harry, and Harry was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Bay was like, yeah, there's like the first group of guys that are here, they all die and go away, and we're all like,
What?
we die? We're like, what the fuck? And then he goes, yeah, the next group, those are the underwater guys that you're going to see. And dude, Harry was like,
We did not get the memo.
we have not had this discussion. And dude, yeah, it was fucking crazy because we literally, I think we worked for like 2 months, and then we were supposed to be doing other shit at the end, and we were like, yeah, we're going to England to film some shit, and we're going to be doing this, and dude, they literally, like, with the exception of, I think, me and Remy, because Remy was essentially cast into this. Well, they wanted who's the guy that was on like the first Tyrese.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Bay wanted Tyrese to be in because they brought Josh Duhamel's character back. They wanted to bring Tyrese's character back. They wanted to bring all these fucking people back for part 5. Mm-hmm. They couldn't get Tyrese he wanted like fucking millions of fucking dollars because he's been making all these fucking Fast 5 and Fast 6 and Fast movies.
Yeah.
Well, what do? They do the next best thing. They get a fucking a Remy who's a fucking lookalike, and they basically made him.
He does kind of look alike. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't actually switch the casting and say, "Hey, you're not so many words," but yeah. So, and Remy was basically created out of that necessity, but then the rest was I hung around because I was essentially carrying Harry's clipboard, learning how to be a fucking tech advisor, and. But yeah, they sent everybody else home. It was like me, it was you, Nelly, fucking Jared Shaw was on that project. I don't know, it was like 10 of us maybe. Dave Hartzell, I think, was in there. Anyways, they sent everybody home, and then they had to cast more people. The fucking producer had already cut our deal, so he brings these new guys in. They're like, I can't pay you guys the same I'm paying these guys because... Basically, we took the whole fucking budget type shit. Yeah. But anyways, I digress. That's where Todd and I first met, and then going into, I want to say season 4 and 5 of The Last Ship, we kind of did a blue and gold. So he would do like episodes like 1, 3, 5, 7, and I would do like 2 because it's fucking weird. Like when you make a project for TV. Typically, you're filming like one episode at a time. I mean, there are exceptions to that. Like when you film like a Jack Ryan, it's very location based. So a lot of that is like filming like an 8-hour fucking movie, and you're filming parts of episode 1, and then you're filming parts of episode 7, and you're filming. So you got different directors coordinating shit, and you got different ADs coordinating shit in different locations and days that you're shooting. Whereas, like The Last Ship, because it was made for TNT, for the small screen, you're filming, it's an hour feature, you're filming for 2 fucking weeks, but during that 2 weeks, you're going to production meetings, and you're going to fucking, prop show and tell, and you're going to wardrobe, and like they're calling on me and him to go, hey, does this uniform, we need approval on this shit. And they kind of give us carte blanche to go, that looks like shit, or that looks fucking stupid, or that looks good, or,
ribbon racks all screwed up.
Yeah, so you're constantly doing shit to where when they're filming the previous episode, you're on set.
Yeah.
So you can't be in 2 places at once. So, and Harry hated fucking doing television, so he was kind of like, I'll let you guys do it.
Yeah,
and Mo would fill in, when shit would fall off here and there. And but yeah, that's kind of how we started.
And the first season of Jack Ryan, I think, is the first time we.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that shit too. That was another.
We were in Morocco.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity there too. Is when they were, and that was Andrew Form.
Yeah,
because he was like, I don't care what we got to do, but we got to fucking put real fucking team guys. He goes, I don't want this fucking shootout to look like complete dog shit. And so he goes, how many fucking team guys? He goes, hey, do you have a group of team guys you can bring out there?
As a matter of fact,
and I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'm like, you're not paying them as special ability extras. They're going to be fucking stuntmen because nobody wants to fly out there for
peanuts.
And I think that's the biggest thing too, with at least how the industry is kind of shifted, because people look at stuff a lot differently, especially under Harry, because Harry did this for so many fucking years. But the thing with Harry that a lot of people don't realize is he was bringing active duty guys on to where dudes would take leave and go, I mean, when you're on leave, you're getting a paycheck, and you're, not to say that money doesn't fucking matter, but dudes are just fucking happy to be taking fucking leave and going to work on a fucking film
just
set.
Extra at that
and
point,
then going back to another, and then you go back to your job and you do whatever. Whereas whatever fucking year it was basically right after Act of Valor came out. Around 2013, 2012, 2013, Warcom basically came out and was like, well, it was when a lot of those dudes, like...
video game thing,
a lot of dudes got in trouble for that video game shit.
Oh, they're trying to put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah. Basically, they're like, oh, we don't want guys going and doing video games. We don't want guys going and doing fucking movies. We don't want all this fucking shit. And you're like, well you
what's this Act of Valor thing you just did?
You just forced a bunch of fucking team guys to go do this shit. Not forced them. I mean, I raised my hand to go to Key West and fucking go fuck around for fucking 3 weeks. But a lot of that shit people don't realize is my fucking hearing go off.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
A lot of people don't realize, in the older days, dudes would take leave and they'd go and they pretty much were getting special ability extra pay, which is anywhere between as an extra, you're making like fucking $100 for a day of work, like for like 8 hours, or it's probably a little more, a little less back then. And then special ability extras, you can kind of figure out what your pay scale is. You can kind of negotiate some of that shit because like a standard stunt day, like a daily now, is over $1,000 a day just for a fucking stunt daily. 10 years ago when we were doing Transformers, it was probably like in the 900s.
Yeah.
High 800s. And that's for an 8-hour day. Nobody shoots an 8-hour day, especially Bay.
Overtime.
Shooting 12 hours a day. So, dudes were... You always want to fucking... If you can get on as a stunt man, you're like, well, fuck yeah, because now I get shit on the back end. I get royalties on the back end and shit like that. But, the thing with that is you couldn't use active duty guys. So, they're trying to bring dudes in that aren't active duty anymore, and we'd pretty much pick that plant clean. We're like, dude, who the fuck are we going to get? And, and then you're trying to negotiate some special ability extra fucking shit for these guys who come in. It's like, dude, okay, I was able to get you like 600 for 8 versus like $300. Okay, by the time we shoot 12, like maybe you'll make $750. And dudes were pretty good with that, but they don't get any fucking back end shit.
Yeah.
And so
Residuals
there was there's going to be some fucking rubbing because like, well, dude, those other guys were here and they were all on stunt contracts and they got fucking guaranteed, 6 weeks regardless, type shit.
Yeah, it's just different.
And it's just like, and then you hear all the, like, oh, fucking Harry's taking some of our fucking shit. And it's like, no, he's not taking some of your shit. It's just, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it changed.
But what guys don't understand is, or especially the industry, is you have producers and shit like, dude, we used to pay these guys $300. You're like, yeah, and they had day jobs. Now these guys are coming from all walks of life where this dude's trying to start a new business. He's got to put that shit on hold for fucking 3 months to come and work for fucking $300 a day. You're like, nope.
Yeah.
Not today, Satan. So you have weird shit like that a lot of people, especially, and we're our own worst enemies. You have team guys that start all the fucking infighting, and they're like, oh, that guy's on a fucking, he's on a stunt contract. And they're like, oh, he's got his own trailer. And like, oh, well, he's doing this. And it, it turns a fun film set into fucking toxic as fuck.
A hen house, dude.
Yeah,
I can see how team guys could fuck up that good deal.
But it makes a difference on set though. And when we were up in Canada filming Valiant 1, we didn't have any special abilities guys, and they always overclaim their ability anyway.
Yeah, for
sure. So I'm asking the dude, looking him straight in the eyes. I'm like, okay, so you've shot a gun before. You've done this stuff before. They're like, yeah, I'm great. Yeah. And then you get on set in the day, and they're just like the goofiest looking son of a bitch you've ever seen. They're all backward.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong. And there's no way to fix it at that point.
Yeah.
No, it's too late.
Oh, it's too late.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
Doing a lot of the back, especially the Navy movies or TV shows or things where there's military uniforms and stuff, you become an expert too on the laws of that. And I just entered into some online debate the other day on something where, just like you're saying, there's this idea that producers or people think that they have to mess something up or like rearrange the order of a medal because there's it's illegal for them to use, and it's not.
Yeah.
They can do. There's actually Schacht versus the United States, a law in 1970 where these actors were portraying a Vietnam situation where they come up and shoot this Viet Cong guy. And the military didn't like it. It portrayed the military in a negative way. So they sued these actors, and they lost. It's called Schacht versus the United States. And they lost because of the First Amendment. Even if the military doesn't like it, they can't do shit about it. Now, they can not support the film. And by supporting the film, you have access to their airplanes, their ships, their top, look at Top Gun.
Yeah. Shows like that have DOD approval.
Have DOD approval. So
with that comes some fucking weird.
That's DOW, gentlemen.
But yeah, with that, they can restrict your script. They can say, no, you're not going to do that scene, or you're not going to do this. And in my film, we didn't have any military support, and we couldn't get a Black Hawk up in Canada. All we could get is a regular helicopter, and but the uniforms, everything else were exact. There's not a discrepancy. It's all out of the book. But at the end, during post-production, you have the lawyers coming out going, well, hey, those patches, those Army patches, trademarks, it's illegal. I'm like, no.
It's not.
I had to sit there and argue this. And even when you argue it and you say, here is the law that says that you can do it. Now, you tell them, and they'll come back and they'll say, well, it's against the law. I'm like, well, what law do you speak of?
I thought you were a lawyer.
It's like, you're a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Which law? Point to the exact law that you're speaking about that says that I can't wear a military uniform on film.
And like you said, they'll go behind your back and post and fuck it all up anyway.
They're going to go behind your back and mess it up. So
I'm literally going through that with the show I'm doing right now, the costumer, because the unit, it's the Fighting 69th National Guard unit out of New York, and they wear a certain thing on their fucking left. She goes, yeah, we need, and it's got the patch, it's got a bunch of stars and shit on it. She's like, yeah, we'll take and have some made up that just has like a couple extra stars. I'm like, why?
Oh, yeah.
She goes, well, we need to make some changes to it. I go, why?
It's about this unit.
Yeah.
Make it authentic.
I go, you don't have to change the uniform. She goes, well, we don't. She goes, it's easier to just change it than to try and get clearances. I go, what fucking clearances?
You don't need
I go,
clearance.
I literally just worked on a show where everything we did was spot on. And of course, she's like, did you guys have DOD approval? I go, no, we didn't.
And you don't need it.
You don't need it.
Maybe that's the reason that trident's all fucking goofy looking.
Probably, dude.
Probably.
Yeah. Looks like a SWAT trident.
Yeah.
Well, you look in history, there's several movies that have been made that did not have military support. Platoon is one of them.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket is another one.
Really?
Hurt Locker. There's several of them that didn't have. And
big successes.
Full Metal Jacket, that's identical. Everything. I've looked at his medals in his rack. All of them are legit. And it's just like you said.
Gunnery Sergeant Hartman.
They'll say,
Our Lee Army wasn't going to let him mess that up.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. There's so many so much misinformation in the industry. I mean, literally, I was in some fucking argument with some dickhead on social media where they're like, well, they have to make some wrong stuff with the uniforms. I'm like, yeah, no, that's totally wrong. Like, no, it ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
just those rumors that just never
like,
die.
No, my aunt was a costumer on so-and-so. And I'm like,
okay,
all right. I've done a few films, and I'm telling you, nothing. The fucking uniforms can be exact, and no one's gonna fucking sue you for it.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is we have AI now. If you ask that question in AI right now, it'll say, no, there's no law that says you can't wear the uniform. As a matter of fact, there's a law that says you can, and it's that one, Schacht versus the U.S.
That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's so useful. So you got a list of stuff. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get through it all, but there's some on the back page that they're interesting. The notes are your time as a CMC, ARI's uniforms, disciplinary action. It says liberty risk of my friends. Is that what it says?
Oh, as my friends,
As
probably. No, so basically the bottom line there is, as the CMC of a team, you're thinking that you're finally getting to this job that you've coveted your whole life, and that you're just like, I can't wait to be get that front parking spot and
The
be
man,
the
yeah,
man, the
yeah.
boss. And you get in there, and the first thing they tell you is that you're responsible for haircuts, uniforms, and alcohol-related incidences. So the majority of your time, and you've built your team around you and brought in your buddies to be in these positions. And just the worst part about it is trying to manage that aspect of it, the ARIs when your buddies are coming in. And things have evolved. So like I said before, I had an alcohol-related incident, but it was a different time.
Yeah.
It was a different world. Mm-hmm. And so it was handled differently. But then when you're in that position, you're now dealing with the current situation, and sometimes your hands are tied. And I appreciated that on many different occasions, I was able to see the situation for what it was and know that this person is only getting in trouble. They're getting in trouble twice, outside and then inside. Double jeopardy aspect. And if it was something that it could be handled at my level, we were going to handle it.
Yeah.
And that was the most powerful piece of being a command master chief and being surrounded by a good senior enlisted and having good officers in your chain of command that I could come up to and say, hey, Skipper, I know that the road leads to Captain's Mast here, but is there another road that maybe leads to some paper that gets torn up in a year or something?
Yeah.
Is
Good to have that leadership that don't demand a sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have to sacrifice these guys every single time? And I found out that there's quite a few skippers out there that were interested in hearing your ideas of how we could not screw these guys over their whole career for making this little mistake that they made that didn't hurt anyone. And that's kind of my main point there, is the most powerful piece of being that senior leader was those cases where you could, give that guy a second chance. And I've run into these guys often. And one of the first things they say, do you remember when and I got a DUI or I got in trouble and you got me out of it? And I'm like, no, I forgot all about it. I don't.
It's just how I am.
Like, you owe me one, bitch.
Exactly.
But
where's my money?
I think I'm most proud of those moments because the leadership, we're surrounded by strong leaders throughout the teams, and guys are constantly doing their thing, and they don't require too much micromanagement until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then you're like, they're looking up and they're going, all right, we're going to get hammered for this. And there was always, I appreciated that I could come in and be like, hey, we're gonna provide some top cover for you on this one and keep you from having to flush away your whole career.
Man, that's awesome.
Over this stuff. So that's pretty much what that.
That's huge. That's so important, man.
I told this story before, but it opened my eyes to one, like what good leaders do, and also what things aren't always what you think they are. That story about me and Tage basically beating the shit out of each other in front of fucking Danny's.
Yeah.
And fucking we had just gotten a new OIC, and we had the next day the next day was Friday. We were supposed to have it off. Well, get a fucking phone call, like balls early, fucking Friday morning. It's Chief Crimmins going, hey, you and fucking Tage be in the fucking platoon space at whatever 09. And I'm like, motherfucker, dude. And then we go there, and he kind of reams us, but Crimmins doesn't really ream people out. He's just like, you fucking, basically like, you fucking dumbasses. And then he has paperwork for us to sign, and he's like, hey, when we go our next trip, you motherfuckers are going to be on, Cinderella Liberty type shit. And we're like, what a fucking asshole. Like, we thought this dude was cool. Well, at the end of the fucking platoon, not even the end of the platoon, because that platoon still wound up getting fucking disbanded. But
go figure.
At the end of one of the fucking trips, and he's like, do you know why I fucking counseled you guys? And we're like, no. And he goes, dude, the fucking head shed, like the CO and the CMC were calling for your fucking heads. And he goes, I fucking said I would fucking handle it at my level. And so I counseled you guys so that you motherfuckers didn't want to go to mass and getting your fucking dicks kicked in. And I was like, oh. Like, oh, I just thought you were being a prick.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you don't
things
realize
aren't
those
always
things.
to say, you know, you might, damn, well, that's a good idea.
Well, I think things look different at different perspectives too. Like when you're like, you know, it's mainly just an E5, the team, and everybody's an asshole in E5. Like, oh, why can't you let me fucking do whatever I want, you know? But then you get in a different position of, I was never in a leadership position, but in a different position where you have more responsibility and things look different.
Yeah.
You know, and I've noticed that in later on in building our team here and employees and all this shit. Man, it's a whole different ride. Part of that is getting older too. And you just realize there's so much more to these decisions than you realize when you're in that little bubble of like, you know, E5, just operator level. There's a whole different, there's a whole bunch of different levers that are applying pressure in different ways. And sometimes, man, the best thing you can have that makes a huge difference in your life trajectory is a good leader at the right time that can protect you, even when sometimes you don't fucking realize what they're doing.
Well, it's that fucking, that lower butt shed too. You know, you have the head shed and you have the butt shed. But the fucking, you know, the butt shed are always the guys that are fucking like, you fucking put on E6 and now the rank went to your fucking head. Like, no, motherfucker. Now all of a sudden I'm in charge. I'm responsible for way more fucking shit. And if I can't depend on you to fucking show up in the right fucking uniform with a goddamn haircut and a shave like you're fucking supposed to do anyway, that was the biggest thing, at least as an LPO, was like, what do we have to shave for? I'm like, dude, fuck, I don't know. Just fucking shave your fucking face.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like you're at the fucking team. Like, what are you going to grow a fucking beard in a week before you have to shave again? Like, just shave your fucking face.
Yeah, it makes our lives a lot easier.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, really, I'm getting tired of having to tell you every other fucking day.
Yeah, like you're mommying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, and that's part of it too, is the trust. You feel like you can't be honest with the CMC or your leadership. We put these artificial boundaries between us, and I've always been impressed. You know, these guys will come into the office and they think that they're going to have this big argument with me about like getting approved for something, and they start to tell me their spiel, and I'm like, yeah, of course. Why not? Yeah, let's go. Yeah, do it. They're looking like, oh, I thought we were going to have to really dig in and bullshit around here. I'm like, no, just be honest. You know, don't trust. Have some trust in your leadership, and you know, where you screw up is when you start lying to them. If you start lying to them, and they'll be able to smell it, and come out, the truth will come out, and that's when it's completely out of your hands. You're like, I would have helped you out, but you kind of put me in a bad spot there.
It's a two-way street.
We
It's
want
a
to
two-way
go to
street.
We want to go to Key West for a jump trip.
Yeah. Well, now I see what your real motivation
Bitch,
is.
please.
Yeah, so just as long as you're honest and you come stand up and you go, hey, now there's a difference between saying, hey, I can handle this at my level. You know, guys would do that. They would call me and say, hey, here's what's happened. I'm going to handle it at my level. I'm like, well, you just called me. I'm not, that's no longer at your level. You brought it up to my attention. I have a responsibility to tell the boss. Why? Because wouldn't you want him to tell you if this shit happened? It's we've made that bond between the skipper and I, and
you're
I owe
obligated
him.
Two-way conversation.
I'm obligated. He's going to know about this. I'm sorry. I can't hide that. If you were going to handle it at your level,
You got to handle it.
you're not going to call me.
Yeah,
You know.
But part of that is like, there are certain guys in certain leadership positions that there's two elements to it, right? Like some people you just can't tell the truth to because you know they're going to fuck you. And I've had some leaders in the teams like that where like, you just don't want to tell them because they're going to fucking hammer you just because they can. And
I
there's
don't
other
want to be
guys-
the senior man with a secret. And you're like,
Yeah. But then the other point is some of them, like that top cover goes both ways. So you handle your lever and you keep them out of it and you don't tell them out of respect because you don't want to put them in a position where they have to lie for you.
yeah.
So but it all comes down to communication and trust, and that's one of the things I love about the teams is that a lot of it is based on just your reputation and who you are, and it's not really black and white; it's shades of gray, and you earn that ability to operate in the shades of gray.
Yeah, not everybody is going to have the same outcome for the same infraction.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's life look like for you these days?
So I live up on the coast in Northern California, and I'm mostly into construction. I've been rebuilding my house. You know, when you live in San Diego on a military salary, you're used to buying distressed houses and redoing the bathroom and the kitchen and putting in new floors and windows. So I'd done that several times. I was able to get I met my wife on the set of The Last Ship, Zoe. She's a makeup artist. And we left Hollywood and moved up there, and I'm doing construction on a house, and I'm developing some property up there.
Cool.
So if you're ever up in Northern California, you're from the Santa Rosa area.
Yeah.
We're right there. Got a place for you to stay. And working on my movies, I've got several ideas in place. I've got a documentary for my wife's grandfather. He was a machinist mate in the Navy back in an engine mechanic for aviation, and just had this really cool story. He was just one of those guys who can just listen to the engine and say, there's something wrong right here. We got to tighten this and that, and next thing you know, the thing's flying.
Your flux capacitors.
The flux capacitors. So
you zonked your gonkulator.
So as a gift to my wife, I'm going to make her a documentary of her grandfather.
That's cool.
Really cool.
And then I've got a couple of stories. One of them I was talking about earlier from Afghanistan, where I saw some my medics do some very heroic things in front of me. We saved a couple of Marines from a landmine. They had stepped in a minefield. And so I've got a story about that I'm planning to film at the same area, the Alabama Hills.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be the Afghanistan backdrop.
McKinley area.
Yeah. It's
That's cool.
Whitney.
Oh, Mount Whitney.
Whitney.
What did I say, McKinley?
That's
in Alaska. That's a long
Denali.
ways to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to go up there.
So in the meantime, I am open for work. So if any movies or shows come about, I'll definitely jump on those. But school is going great. I'm going to the Los Angeles Film School, doing a bachelor's degree in digital filmmaking, and I'm blown away at how much knowledge I'm getting, and it's great.
Yeah.
If the education it's amazing. I'm looking forward to making movies now.
That's really cool. Are you on the net anywhere, or where can people find you?
I'm on IMDb.
Okay.
So professionally, the professional thing I'm doing is film, and that's the main place that I call home. LinkedIn, but that's more just because of that. But I'm not on any social media. I had to just kind of walk away from it a little bit, just from my own personal.
It's probably healthier.
Needs. Yeah.
You'd be like this guy spending hours on Reddit arguing with somebody.
I have a good time with it, man. I love that shit. It's fun.
They'll dig in. I just said I had this art. I weighed in on that subject of not having to change military uniforms, and everyone just had no problem telling me I was wrong.
Oh, dude.
You're
Isn't that
wrong.
funny?
You're
It is
wrong.
fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious.
You're like, all right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Okay.
If
I'm wrong.
Sleep better at night, I guess.
Yep.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just like, all right, well,
That's it.
Yeah, it's a good time, man.
make more work for yourself. But
Yeah, no shit.
yeah.
Well, cool, man. Is there anything you want to plug, or anything people can reach out and find in your projects?
Yeah, you already plugged Vets. Anything else like that?
Yeah, that's it. No, I think Vets has been one of the single things with the Ibogaine initiative that has been moving the needle, and it's horrifying to hear that guys are still taking their own lives, and I hope that anyone out there can get help, and it's available, and I definitely encourage you to do so. So
Yeah.
Please do,
reach
man.
out, man.
Yeah,
reach
even
out.
if it doesn't have to be anything professional too. Like, dude, just talk to your friends, man. Just get together in your garage and shoot the shit, or call a friend, or whatever, man.
Yeah.
Just reach out.
one thing I am doing is I hiked the John Muir Trail. I did that in 7 days, and I'm getting ready to do the Colorado Trail in June with the team guy.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So more to follow on that. I'll send you guys.
You guys
some
gonna
photos.
hold hands the whole way?
No, we're carrying.
Trying to break a record here.
Yeah, we're going to be moving quick. We're doing a lot of ultralight equipment and gear. Just really counting the ounces.
That's cool.
So
Where does that start at?
it starts in Denver and goes to Durango.
Wow.
Fuck,
it's like
dude.
500
That's a haul,
miles.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Durango's cool. My brother lived in Telluride for a number of years. That whole area is fucking beautiful.
That's cool stuff. All right. Well, any saved rounds or alibis? Or
No, thanks for being
Right.
on.
Thank you for
Dude,
having
thanks,
me, brother.
buddy.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Fucking
sharing
great.
these stories,
Good,
Todd.
good to see you again,
Good
Todd.
stuff,
Too,
man.
buddy.
Oh,
Always.
and Mo, thanks for being on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
my
brother.
pleasure.
All right, fellas.